Chapter 311. Directing the Future Monster's Talent. Liu Bai was really the cypress he was looking for. Yang Chen listened to him with a smile. The monstrously talented cypress of the future finally paid his respects to become his own disciple. With Liu Bai acknowledging him as his master, Liu Bai with his monster soul connected with Yang Chen's mind. This was like the monster souls that Yang Chen, Yu Kui and Xie Sha traded. The apprenticeship of the monster race was by no means completed by a simple kowtow, but establishing a master-apprentice connection with the monster's soul was essential. It was much more formal in comparison to human apprentice cultivators. With the monster soul exchange, the monster race could not revolt against their masters. Thus, monster cultivators could be much more important than human cultivators. That up. Yang Chen slightly reached out and accepted the role as the master of the cypress. Next, the old cypress tree would take the entire cypress family to join the Puryang Palace Hall of Eccentrics. For this matter, Yang Chen could take responsibility directly, he was sure that the palace master would not have any objections. After all the cypress tree's loyalty and monster souls were received. Yang Chen was not parsimonious, and the cultivation method prepared from Liu Bai was immediately taken out. This is a foundation-laying cultivation method. Your cultivation is too dependent on instinct, and the level is not high. Since he was now a sect member, Yang Chen certainly did not hide. He continued unhesitatingly, you must begin to practice this cultivation method, regardless of the level of your cultivation base, especially your old patriarch. Yang Chen turned his head to the head of the cypresses and smiled, pointing out, before with your cultivation, you took some detours, so it is too late to form your nascent soul. After rebuilding your foundation, forming a nascent soul will be a simple matter. The old patriarch was also a person who knew to judge something precious. When he got the jade slip and his spiritual awareness swept through it, he immediately understood the high level of the cultivation method within. Compared with his own instinct, he did not know how many times better it was. Under this big joy, he gave his thanks immediately. Here, this is also a monster race spiritual awareness secret art. Yang Chen also copied the martial arts jade slips from the banyan tree cave and handed them over to the old patriarch. It is good to cultivate your spiritual awareness. This did not need Yang Chen to say, but everyone knew the benefits of cultivating their spiritual awareness. Not to say anything else, just in the early Jidan stage, Yang Chen could release the spiritual awareness of the Daching realm. He was able to suppress their tribe enough for them to not dare move. When Yang Chen said that, naturally, everyone was happy. There is also a Demon King transformation secret art which can make you change your main body and turn it into a demon body. This time, Yang Chen took out the jade slip of the Demon King transformation secret art. This secret art was not the transformation secret art that Yang Chen obtained from the spiritual world that could directly transform a monster into a human, but the jade slip that he got from the hands of the second city master. After cultivating it, one could become a human with a monster head. Most of the monster race in the banyan tree cave were also cultivating this method. If this cultivation method of the monster race could be practiced to the highest level, it could also completely change their monster body, but it required a lot of effort. Yang Chen did not require them to practice it to that extreme. If they have been repaired to a certain extent, they could be transferred to the spiritual form of the spiritual world and directly become a person. Of course, these things were the benefits of the new sect members with the higher level cultivation methods. Yang Chen then told them honestly that they needed to reach the Yuning realm to be able to practice them. Including the Demon King transformation secret art. The spiritual pulse below the cypress forest was somewhat scattered. Yang Chen worked on it and arranged a spirit gathering formation within a radius of 10 miles, which could effectively restrain the spiritual power of these spiritual pulses within that range. Hundreds of cypresses, practicing in this spirit gathering formation, could feel the effect increasing at least several times than before. Even if they had not begun to practice the foundation-laying cultivation methods, the intensity of spiritual power surprised everyone. The formation showed the difference immediately, the cultivation methods and the spiritual pulse almost instantaneously synergized. The old patriarch almost jumped up excitedly. Others had not seen these cultivation methods, but the old patriarchs had seen them from the beginning. Although they had not practiced yet, he also knew that it was definitely a strong cultivation method for their family. While excited, the old patriarch was also happy for the luck of his grandson. If Yang Chen didn't take a fancy towards Liu Bai and accepted him as an apprentice, maybe the family of the big and small 110 cypresses could end up killed by Yang Chen. Thinking of this, the old patriarch was also full of fear. But now there was no such concern at all, they had joined the Puryang Palace, Hall of Eccentrics, and Liu Bai was also accepted as an apprentice by Yang Chen. In the future, even if he was a family, he no longer has to worry about Yang Chen turning hostile. Naturally, the old patriarch could also think of Yang Chen's tolerance and certainly would not put that little matter in his heart. I will stay here for a while and give pointers to Mu Bai during his cultivation. Yang Chen received his apprentice and directly started explaining his own arrangements. In this time, if you have any problems in your practice, you can come and ask me, I will try my best to answer. The old patriarch was overjoyed and immediately passed down the cultivation methods. Then with a respectful invitation, Yang Chen preached and explained the cultivation method in detail. Yang Chen was very proficient with this kind of teaching since he was a disciple in the Yishu manner. Although it was the cultivation of the monster race, due to the knowledge Yang Chen had gathered, he did not feel perplexed while teaching it. No matter what question was asked, Yang Chen could promptly find a suitable and unforeseen answer to it. There were a few cypresses who were not convinced at first and even asked a few questions that they had encountered in their previous practice. But even those were answered, thus, they resolved to not make trouble for Yang Chen. As a result, all the cypresses were shocked. Yang Chen answered their questions even if they didn't ask. Moreover, they directly concluded that they had no problems left. Their solutions were so detailed that they felt as if they have seen the processes involved. Yang Chen's words almost solved all problems they encountered. After listening to Yang Chen's explanation, they understood what they had done wrongly before. Originally, they were still complacent. They had already spent a significant amount of effort in their previous practice. Now they understood that many of the troubles in their cultivation were the aftereffects of the past. Everyone was now convinced. No one had any doubts about Yang Chen. All were humbly asking for advice, especially the oldest cypress was the most diligent and Yang Chen did not bother to explain more. When a person asked a question, almost all of them would be on the same page. Everyone here was the same race and many problems were also the same. After listening to Yang Chen's explanation and sermon again, everyone clearly felt the improvement in the speed of their cultivation progress. This was not only the merits of the spirit gathering formation, but the improvement brought on by the cultivation methods as well. For a time, the entire cypress family was all rejoicing, all of them were full of confidence, and even the old cypresses saw the hope of reaching the Yuning realm. The wood cultivators were different from other cultivators. Sometimes, with a low cultivation realm one may eventually die. But the wood cultivators were not the same. Generally, as long as their spiritual wisdom formed, they could survive for many years. Compared with humans, they really had a long life. Basically, the wood monster cultivators could still impact the realm many times by relying on their long lifespan. With this time and someone to direct their cultivation, naturally, they had high hopes to reach the higher realms. Although everyone was happy, it did not hinder everyone's envy of the little cypress. Because after teaching everyone, Yang Chen separated the little cypress and began to teach him exclusively. However, even if they were envious, Yang Chen was now the master of Mu Bai. And masters alone pointing to their disciples was a common matter. Thus, the other cypresses, though envious, could only sigh and look on. During Yang Chen's solo teaching, not only did he bring the cypress to his side, but directly arranged an illusion array, which cut off the spiritual awareness of all the other cypresses, making them unable to decipher the situation inside. Mu Bai, your qualifications are very good, so even if you practice the same cultivation method as you do now, you can still excel. Yang Chen explained to Mu Bai very seriously, so, in terms of cultivation methods, temporarily I don't care too much for you. Master already taught the disciple the foundation cultivation method. The disciple has understood. Mu Bai had a respectful response to Yang Chen, and there was no hint of dissatisfaction in his demeanor. So, you have this mentality, very good. Yang Chen nodded with satisfaction. However, since I am your master and you are my apprentice, I still want to give you some gifts. With Yang Chen's words, in his hand a large ping of leaves appeared suddenly. Mu Bai also looked over and saw the pile of leaves, making his eyes lit up. The pile of leaves had an extremely pure first wood aura, which was extremely suited to Mu Bai. Yang Chen said that this was a meeting gift for him. Were these that gift? Yang Chen's hand was holding a lot of leaves of the Penglai divine wood. However, these leaves were taken from the Penglai divine wood that Yang Chen used to refine the first wood flying sword. In fact, at that time, Yang Chen only took the trunk, the main roots, and many of the side leaves. Other parts were cut but not used. These scattered branches and leaves were just like an elixir for Mu Bai. Of course, he still had a low cultivation base, far from the old tree monster Gi Shanyu, who directly devoured a whole Penglai divine wood piece. However, it was no problem to slowly absorb these leaves. I will stay here for a year with these leaves and some branches. How many you are able to absorb in that time is up to you. Yang Chen said directly. He wanted to use this time to make the little cypress absorb all these treasures slowly. Although Mu Bai did not know what the leaves were or the leaves of which tree they were, but relying on instinct alone, he could understand their preciousness. Hearing about some branches, he was even more pleasantly surprised. Now he thanked Yang Chen again while taking the leaves from his hand. The trunk cracked a small mouth and put the leaves of these Penglai divine woods into it. In the time when the cypress absorbed the leaves of the Penglai divine wood, Yang Chen also stayed there. In addition to pointing out the practice of the cypress's monster, he was also tempering his own body refining technique. The bone-chilling cold astral wind of the hurricane smashed the cypress monsters here very well. Although they were not so powerful when facing Yang Chen, he knew how strong these guys were against such weather elements. In addition to making them submit by force, Yang Chen also needed to use rewards to make them completely loyal to the Pure Yang Palace. The earlier cultivation methods, the spirit gathering formation and Yang Chen's instructions were all in lieu of that goal. However, these were not enough. Yang Chen must add more rewards. For these ordinary cypress monsters, Yang Chen also gave them a motivation to practice. A branch of Penglai divine wood with a thin finger was set up as reward if they progressed to the peak Jidan stage. Of course, the premise was to use the new monster cultivation method to lay their foundations, unlike the self-exploring way they originally practiced. The attraction of the Penglai divine wood was extraordinary. Although the cypress monsters did not know the origin of the branches, but the pure aura that they exuded made them extremely excited. The big trees on one of the trunks were almost bursting with fire, staring at the branches and hating that they couldn't swallow them with their eyes. In addition, you can't make a monster body now, let alone a human figure, so you can't go back to the sect for a while. Yang Chen revealed but also gave a solution: take this transformation secret art and practice carefully. After 30 years, it is estimated that you can all transform into a monster body, then I will take you away. The environment here is special, and the cold hurricane has great benefits for your body refining. All the cultivation should be carried out in this hurricane. Yang Chen was not willing to let these guys lose their tracks because of the spiritual Kai and the spirit gathering formation. This spirit gathering formation will be active every day, each person should only stay in it for 2 hours at the most, so the spiritual Kai is concentrated and is good for everyone. No one objected to Yang Chen's words, his instructions have already made all the cypresses here content. Since the previous instructions were all fruitful, they blindly trusted these as well. The aptitude of Mu Bai was really outstanding. In less than a month, he absorbed all the Penglai divine wood leaves Yang Chen had. His spiritual power now also had a touch of the Penglai divine wood aura. For his own apprentice, Yang Chen certainly wouldn't be jealous and directly gave him all the remaining Penglai divine wood leaves. He had prepared them for him after all. If he could absorb all of them, he would become a mighty monstrous talent in the future. While pointing out Mu Bai's cultivation and the rest of the cypress monsters, Yang Chen did not forget to temper his own body refining technique day and night. Everyone saw that Yang Chen himself practiced in the hurricane, thus, they were also unwilling to fall behind. Soon, 1 year of hard cultivation had passed by. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 312. Yonggang Mountain. In the course of this year, Mu Bai practiced laying his foundation again. In addition, he also practiced the transformation secret art and the spiritual awareness secret art, while the remaining time was spent on absorbing the leaves of the Penglai divine wood that Yang Chen had given him. The leaves amounting to what a whole plant of Penglai divine wood had been absorbed completely by Mu Bai in only half a year. At the beginning, the speed was still relatively slow, but then it got increasingly faster. From 1 piece to 10 and then 100 leaves, the speed had increased more than 100 times, and the Penglai divine wood aura on his body was getting stronger and stronger. Other cypress monsters certainly found the change on Mu Bai, but everyone did not have any heart to envy him. Mu Bai was their descendant, and the second reason was that he was the apprentice of Yang Chen. Master gives the apprentice some benefits. Others were not worthy of jealousy. After half a year, Yang Chen began to give some small branches to Mu Bai. A bigger piece would be too much for Mu Bai. Even though he was already a master of the Jidan realm, but due to his dependence on instinct, the realm wasn't strong enough. All the spiritual powers were recultivated again, and Penglai divine wood served to fasten the advancement as well. After all, he had to lay the foundation for the Jidan realm, just like Gao Yu in the past. Even if he gave up his original cultivation base to recultivate the spiritual powers again, it would still advance quicker. In the past 6 months, Mu Bai had achieved the Kai refining middle stage. Even the people who had the full postnatal spirit root like Yang Chen and Gao Yu were also not comparable. There was another difference the monster had from the human cultivators, especially the trees. After years of accumulation, they could very easily promote their realms without worrying about consolidation. Of course, the premise was that these accumulations were long enough and Mu Bai meet such conditions. In fact, a tree monster would experience thousands of years or even longer before opening their spiritual wisdom, so the accumulations later were not a problem for them at all. That was why tree monster were always getting stronger. Yang Chen's physique, under the attention of the tree monster, was getting increasingly tougher. Yang Chen already had the feeling that after practicing in the hurricane in the past few years, the second layer of the body refining technique had already had the trace of great accomplishment. The initial requirement of the body refining technique was 30,000 jin, then after cultivating and achieving the first layer, it would reach 300,000 jin, but after the second layer achievement, there was no detailed quantitative description. Though another word was used to call it the mountain-picking strength. Before Yang Chen had effortlessly pulled the bodies of old and young cypresses directly from the ground, which had already stunned everyone. The concept of forcefully pulling out an old cypress that had grown for thousands of years was already strange. Not to mention anything else, the huge root system may even occupy a few acres squared. The soil may also resist such pulling, and with such a large root system, this force must be terribly strong. Even a slight pull would be considered an impossible achievement. However, when Yang Chen pulled up 2 giant trees at that time, he experienced no resistance and easily did it in one go. What made the surrounding cypresses fear was that when Yang Chen did such, he did not use his spiritual power, as evidenced by the fact that there were no spiritual fluctuations. Perhaps the cypress monsters have no ability to feel spiritual power fluctuations of Yang Chen or his physique, but no matter what, it was not good news for the cypresses. Now they had seen Yang Chen's body refining technique while he practiced in the hurricane. Only a cypress monster could know that it was due to Yang Chen's pure physical strength. If someone could still not be convinced after watching him cutting the thick and scary huge stone pillars or even playing set routines, the cypress monsters, facing him, would never think of provoking him anymore. They knew that the huge stone pillars' weight was far more than the weight of the 300,000 jin, and even the tree monsters that were known for their powers were not able to get it, let alone divert them. Yu Bai and the old cypress tree plus the 3 strongest cypress monsters could work together to pick up the stone pillars that Yang Chen made. After discovering this, Yu Bai had even more admiration for his master. Yang Chen's body shape had reached its limit. Yang Chen knew that when he reached the realm of mountain-picking strength, the body would not experience a change again. The focus of the third layer of the body refining technique was to start to temper the internal organs. It had to become strong enough from the inside out, which was the fundamental goal of the yellow turban strongman technique. After practicing for another 5 months, Yang Chen heard a snap around his body. This sound seemed to have come from inside his body. It appeared as if only Yang Chen had heard it and as if some shackles had broken off. His body suddenly felt relaxed, his muscles that had always been taut seemed to have become softer after that sound. Yang Chen stopped his cultivation and gently moved his hands and feet, but he couldn't tell the feeling of the strength in his hands. Yang Chen understood that this yellow turban strongman body refining technique second layer had already reached great accomplishment. This was a complete surprise. Before Yang Chen came here, he had never thought about how this type of cold astral wind hurricane could help his body refining technique. Unexpectedly, he finished the second layer of the body refining technique just by being in it. The further refining of the body refining technique would be based on strengthening the internal organs and slowly adjust the muscles back to their original state. In other words, Yang Chen's body shape would begin to slowly recover and he would no longer have the extremely muscular look he was currently sporting. After counting the days, he found that Mu Bai had been cultivating for 11 months and in another month, Yang Chen would also have to start preparing for departure. When Yang Chen practiced in these 5 months, Mu Bai did not remain idle. He swallowed up nearly 200 branches of tiny Penglai divine wood plants. Now the body of Mu Bai had a trace of the pure Penglai divine wood aura. The cultivation speed had also become increasingly abnormal, and in less than a year, he had promoted from the initial stage of the to the late stage of the Kai refining realm. According to this progress, Mu Bai rebuilding his foundation would take only 2 or 3 more years. Maybe when Yang Chen comes back 30 years later, Mu Bai would have achieved Jitan realm. Looking at himself as he would soon leave, Yang Chen took Mu Bai again to the illusion array. This time, he did not pull out Penglai divine wood branches, but a large cup of the 4 C's mysterious coral liquid. After refining the Penglai divine wood with current cultivation base of Mu Bai, it was inevitable for his body to produce some impurities. The 4 C's mysterious coral liquid was just the right solution to discharge these impurities so that the road of Mu Bai's cultivation could be smoother in the future. Drinking the 4 C's mysterious coral liquid had a different effect on Mu Bai in comparison to human cultivators. He did not experience sleep but a complete transformation in his body. He transformed into a completely mature cypress tree monster. The impurities had also been discharged as gum on its trunk. In this state, Mu Bai has been going on for half a month. Next, Yang Chen gave him a cup of 4 C's mysterious coral liquid, letting Mu Bai enter this state again and discharge more gum. These gums were impurities in the cypress. After removing these, Mu Bai suddenly discovered the changes in his body. Although Yang Chen did not explain to him the preciousness of the Four Seas' mysterious coral liquid, Mu Bai also understood that this was not something that was easy to get. For the love from his master, the cypress felt inexhaustible. Once again, he answered a question about the cultivation of the cypress demons, and finally the time arrived when Yang Chen was leaving. Although Yang Chen came here in a very unreasonable way, but after a year of getting along, these cypresses still had some reluctance with parting ways. Intensify your cultivation, wait until the achievement of the demon body, 30 years later, I will personally bring you back to the sect. Yang Chen once again made a promise to the group of cypress trees to say goodbye, driving his flying sword, embarked on his return to the central lands. It was very rare for people to come here, even the monster race rarely come here, the cypress demons were very safe. For 30 years, for the cultivators, it was just a blink of an eye. He believed that everyone would be able to meet again soon. Although these cypress demons have been inferior in strength, he believed that after coming to the Pure Yang Palace, the spirit power was abundant there, and the old tree demon could give them pointers. They would definitely be the best serving guardian of the mountain gate. Not only that, if they could keep up with Yang Chen, a fast-moving master, and overcome the shortcomings of their slow action, even if they attack the monster race Immortal's cave, they could also become the main force. Now he had completed the first wood true secret art and won the inheritance of the second city lord of the monster race. He has also conquered such a group of cypress demons and received the future monstrous talent Mu Bai as his disciple, and also accidentally practiced the body refining technique second layer to success. For Yang Chen at a glance, it was really rewarding. Calculating the time, he seemed to have not been with Sun Qingxu for more than 30 years and have not seen her for 40 years. With Yang Chen's understanding of Sun Qingxu cultivation, this time, Sun Qingxu must have already condensed her golden dan. It's time to take a look at this little girl. When Yang Chen was chased by Luo Yuan, there was no news of him. Everyone thought that Yang Chen had already faced misfortune, so Sun Qingxu and Zhanxian went into mourning for him. This kind of affection, Yang Chen had no idea how to repay it. Even if there was a last hurdle in his heart, it doesn't stop him from feeling a little bit of gimmicks, and it doesn't prevent him from going to see the little girl. The hurricane area was also able to quench the body. Yang Chen just flew in the right direction and waited until the hurricane area was reached, only then did he call the shuttle and flew in the direction of the Blue Cloud sect. From the Pure Yang Palace to the 10,000 Trees Forest, just on the road, Yang Chen took a whole year, looking for Mu Bai. There was a year spent on the road, but in the following year, Yang Chen was refining his body mostly. This return trip did not take such a long time, just 1 year, he returned to the central lands. Originally Azhu and Abby estimated that under the direct soaking of the first wood true essence spiritual solution, the Penglai divine woods would open their spiritual wisdom after 1 year and could enter the cultivation state. However, it was clear that both Azhu and Abby have underestimated the power of the Penglai divine woods and underestimated the conditions that the Penglai divine woods needs to open their spiritual wisdom. Although Yang Chen has been cultivated in the most powerful way, these Penglai divine woods did open their spiritual wisdom one by one after Yang Chen returned to Central Plains. Feeling the movement in the medicine garden, Yang Chen hurriedly stopped the shuttle, found a safe place, and directly went into the second layer of the medicine garden. Azhu and Abby came to see him at the first time and then stood with Yang Chen on the side of the first wood true essence spiritual solution, waiting for the spiritual wisdom of the Penglai divine woods to open. Soon there was a change in the Penglai divine woods. On the straight and smooth trunk, suddenly there were 2 more things like tree shrews. Then the thing moved and Zhang opened it. It showed a pair of huge eyes and it looked around. Later, at a glance, Yang Chen was seen and in the eyes it showed a happy light. In Yang Chen's sea of consciousness, there was a sudden increase in consciousness and a feeling of joy. Yang Chen was also happy, directly passed on his thought, let him enjoy the full drink of the first wood true essence spiritual liquid. At the same time he passed on the 3 secret arts, the ones that were also passed to the cypresses of the cypress demon family. Those were the foundations of their cultivation. Some of the advanced cultivation methods that Yang Chen knows were all from the spiritual world. At least they must be able to cultivate to the Yuning stage to be able to practice it. Although the Penglai divine wood was powerful, but they have just opened up their spiritual wisdom, it was better to use these foundation-laying cultivation methods first. Naturally, they had absolute trust in Yang Chen. This Penglai divine wood demon immediately began to practice according to Yang Chen's instructions. Soon, the second Penglai divine wood opened his eyes. In this case, Yang Chen would not be so thick-skinned to favor one above the other, all the cultivation methods were passed down still soothing, pointing to practice. Next was the third, the fourth, it continued to the 24th. Each one was treated the same. These Penglai divine woods opened their eyes to see Yang Chen, there was Yang Chen's aura in the heart. It was natural to regard Yang Chen as theirs master. Master, the rest of these would not open their spiritual wisdom again. As who saw that Yang Chen was still waiting and gently reminded him. Not all Penglai divine woods could become monster cultivators and the rest of them were the corners of the box that was made of the land at that time. There may be some damage, so there was no way to cultivate them. Among the first wood truescent spiritual liquid pool, there were still 7 Penglai divine woods that were growing vigorously, but they could only be Penglai divine woods and it was impossible to become a Penglai tree demon. This result would inevitably make Yang Chen somewhat regrettable, but Yang Chen also knew that the sky was still incomplete and he couldn't demand too much. There were 24 Penglai tree demon, which was unbelievable to the extreme. Especially when these Penglai tree demons began to practice the foundation-laying cultivation methods in the first wood truescent spiritual liquid pool, the speed of their advancement made Yang Chen stunned. It took more than a year to rebuild cultivation base of the monstrous talent Mubai, who was in the Jitan stage. It took more than a year to build the foundation. However, these Penglai tree demons in front of them only broke through the Kai refining early stage in just 2 days, they entered the middle of the Kai refining stage. Being connected with the consciousness of the Penglai tree demons, Yang Chen certainly knew that these Penglai divine woods had no problems at all. However, the speed of their advancement was too much shocking, it was indeed a powerful tree named after the gods. In Yang Chen's mind, he suddenly thought about the heavenly cycle constellation Great Formation left by a divine immortal in the Immortal Executioner Stage divine. It seems that this array was to be used by 24 masters who were quite versatile and tacit and had the same cultivation base. 24 Penglai tree demons, they took the same day to open their spiritual wisdom while simultaneously cultivating, the nature of their cultivation was quite similar. As for the tacit understanding, because of the communication with Yang Chen, the 24 Penglai tree demons could almost be said to be a conjoined body and their mind was intertwined. This great formation was simply tailored for them. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 313. The Greatest Heaven Sect's New Trend. Now these Penglai divine woods demon have just produced their spiritual wisdom and just started to cultivate, so if they wanted to master the great formation immediately it would be a delusion and Yang Chen does not have such an expectation. However, after stopping for a few days, Yang Chen finally understood the power of the Penglai divine wood. In just 10 days, the Penglai divine wood monsters reached the foundation stage at the same time. Compared with the monstrous talent Mubai, they were dozens of times faster. This was not the speed of the cultivation of the Penglai divine wood, but the high starting point of their spiritual wisdom. After experiencing the growth of tens of thousands of years, they were made into a wooden crate before the master ascended. He didn't know how much time to stay in front of the temple. They experienced the cycle of incense and decay, plus the natural treasures. Their cultivation started directly from the foundation stage. Even if there was not Yang Chen's cultivation method and there was no such first wood truescent spiritual liquid, as long as the Penglai divine woods opened up their spiritual wisdom, then it would not exceed 1 month at most, they would reach the present realm. What Yang Chen did was only to make their conditions more superior and there was no drawback in instructing them. As Hu and Abby could communicate with these plants when they have not yet opened their spiritual wisdom. Now there were 24 more Penglai divine woods who could communicate with them and they were happy and started to jump up and down. For many years, there have been no partners here. The only living creature with a spiritual wisdom was Xiao Yan, they were afraid that it would be too late before they could communicate with Xiao Yan. Now they have more companions. Looking that everything was on the right track, Yang Chen also left the medicine garden with confidence. However, when he came out of the medicine garden, he noticed an abnormality around him. His spiritual awareness threads opened instantly, but before Yang Chen could investigate about the surrounding movements, a cold killing intent had already reached his body and then, a thin black light quickly descended to Yang Chen's body. Pacha, Yang Chen's skin was tight. The yellow turban strongman body refining technique in the realm of the mountain picking strength was running all the time. When the external force was suddenly strained, the black light that hits it was blocked outside and the function of the golden bell was not even triggered. The black light that was blocked had revealed its original shape, it was a thin long needle. If it's not because of the flashing light at high speed, people usually wouldn't notice such a slender little needle. If it was at night, this was simply an absolute weapon for attacking someone. When the long needle paused on Yang Chen's chest skin, Yang Chen's reaction was faster than anyone else and the long needle was pinched immediately. Just pinched, the long needle began to shake, seems to want to break away from Yang Chen's fingers. The other party used sword controlling technique to take the needle, which was suddenly caught and suddenly panicked. But no matter how he managed to control it, the black fine needle had been firmly grasped on Yang Chen's fingertips and could not be recovered. Yang Chen's spiritual awareness has locked on a cultivator who was more than 200 feet away from himself. For the time being, he couldn't see the cultivator's sect. He only knew that he was a scholar with an appearance of about 40 or 50 years old. He was staring at himself with a sullen look, and there was a burst of hatred in his eyes. In this regard, Yang Chen was very puzzled. He did not know this guy. It was necessary to know that Yang Chen's memory was very abnormal now. Even if he has only seen the person once, Yang Chen would remember it, but there was no such a figure in his memory. The scholar was also having a Jidan stage cultivation base, but it seems that his realm was higher than Yang Chen. He had the appearance of the middle Jidan stage. As soon as the other party came up, he sneak attacked him and did not ask for the indulgence, which made Yang Chen very angry. The only thing that could be used on hand was the first wood flying sword. Yang Chen's reaction was absolutely not slow. When he found the trace of his opponent, the first wood flying sword suddenly flew out and cut toward the other side. The other party seems to have no fear of anything with 8 shields flying around him, flying around his whole body, completely blocking his body. Regardless of the direction of the attack, it would be blocked by 1 or 2 of the 8 shields. It was not known what material the shield was made of. The smile on the scholar's face showed that he has strong confidence in the shield. Bang, a soft bang was heard, the first wood flying sword hit on one of the shields. Originally this was the scene that the scholar had long thought of, but the next situation made him yell. The shield blocked the flying sword, but it only blocked it for a moment. The first wood flying sword passed a crazy scouring and tempering of the first wood truescent spiritual liquid. It was already sharp, but it was just a sword. The shield that was in front of it was split into 2 halves. At the time of panic, the scholar hurriedly sent the other shields to the front of the blade. The first wood flying sword flying even opened 4 shields. This was a little exhaustive. Yang Chen moved to recall the flying sword. Dare to pick up my flying needle with an empty hand, have you not suffered? The scholar was panicked, but he was not confused at all. Seeing that Yang Chen took back the first wood flying sword, he finally revealed a sneer. With a flash, he flew to the front of Yang Chen 10 feet away, facing Yang Chen. On Yang Chen's finger, there was a hint of itching, and the place that had just been stabbed in the beginning had a little bit of itching. This only shows that the flying needle was hardened in toxin. However, this degree of toxicity was not even able to enter the flesh and blood through Yang Chen's skin. The yellow turban strongman body refining technique was in the realm of the mountain picking strength, not to mention the strong muscles of his whole body. The skin was not so easy to pierce. However, since the other party was so proud, Yang Chen does not mind to play with him in order to get more clues. In a flash, Yang Chen's face was covered with a layer of black dot. He really seemed to be poisoned. His legs seemed to be soft and could not support his weight. They stepped back 2 steps and leaned against a big tree, then he went down. He used poison. Yang Chen stretched his finger to the other side, but the arm seemed to be soft, unable to bear the weight of his hand, just clicked and suddenly put it down. Snort, there can never be too much deception in war. You want to be able to blame, who is the stronger? The scholar smiled and went a few steps forward. Looking down at Yang Chen, he asked coldly, what is your name? You don't know who I am? Yang Chen was a little surprised. The other party didn't even know who he was. He actually met and sneaked attacked him. When did the Tao sects and the demon sects generalize? I don't know who you are, but I know that you will be able to set up a formation. The scholar once again sneered, as if he didn't bother to answer Yang Chen's question, but after all, he couldn't resist the triumph in his heart. He said it's the greatest heaven sects masters who are searching for the formation experts. As long as I catch one, I will have a lot of rewards. You have arranged an illusion array here, it looks good, so when you meet me, you became unlucky. Just because the greatest heaven sect is looking for a master of formations. Yang Chen now had some understanding of what was happening. The last time the greatest heaven sect's welcoming array exploded, and when Yang Chen left the central plains, they did not find a specific murderer. The greatest heaven sect was furious and angry, even disregarding morality. On the spot, the disciples of the Pure Yang Palace were stripped of their life source magic weapons. Later, under the intervention of the island master of the Green Jade Immortal Island, the greatest heaven sect ate a loss of face. After the investigation failed, they left, and Yang Chen took advantage of it and received 15 life source magic weapons. Yang Chen wanted the greatest heaven sect to face up, and they would erect a target in a short time and annihilate it in order to dismiss the face that was blown up. Unexpectedly, until now, they were still looking for suspected formation masters, and it seems from the stance of the scholar that as long as one had some attainment in formations, they were suspected and must be escorted to the greatest heaven sect to be distinguished one by one. It turned out that this scholar was seeking the treasure of the greatest heaven sect, and he happened to pass through this side and found the illusion array of Yang Chen arrangement. He thought that Yang Chen was also a master of the array, so he waited until he saw Yang Chen appearing and just sneaked attacked him. You are unlucky for bumping into me. The scholar did not hear the strong ridicule in Yang Chen's voice. Under the arrogance he was complacent, he thought that his poison was unparalleled in the world. Yang Chen was already the meat on the chopping board and he was free to take care of himself. Even the minimum preventive measures were not done. That is also true. Yang Chen's voice suddenly sounded normal. His body suddenly stood up and when the big hand stretched out, he grabbed the scholar's neck and picked it up. How is it possible? The scholar was shocked, the change in front of him made him unable to believe, but the big hand on his neck was like metal tongs, reminding him that everything was true. Yang Chen looked at his neck and he could not speak. It's just that he was still wondering how his own poisonous needles would not work. Are you wondering about your poison needle? Yang Chen saw at a glance what the scholar was thinking and he smiled lightly and the blue-black color disappeared without a trace. The hand that had just pinched the poison needle was placed in front of the scribe and the black fine needle was still pinched between the two fingers. However, Yang Chen's hand did not change. This made the scholar who could not speak widen his eyes and once again wondered if he was seeing wrongly. Holding the poison needle, Yang Chen gripped a few stitches on the scholar's body. Don't look at the other side was a master with middle Zhanxian stage cultivation base, but he was controlled by Yang Chen with one hand and his great ability couldn't be displayed. Watching Yang Chen's needle on his body, there was nothing he could do. There was a despair in his eyes. In less than a moment, that was in a few breathing time, the scholar began to blacken and his gaze began to diverge, which was completely different from Yang Chen's pretentious posture. Even the strength of the muscles on the neck was much smaller. If Yang Chen was willing, he could twist his neck with a pinch. This was not a fake. Of course, even if it was a fake, Yang Chen would not be afraid. The realm of the mountain-picking strength, even if he just pinches, was also about 300,000 jin. The vulnerable neck of the scholar was not able to prevent Yang Chen from taking his life, even if he uses a strong body protection. The scholar's own poison, if he did not take the antidote. Even he himself couldn't bear it. This was also the reason why he was confident in the poison. Yang Chen's realm was only at the beginning of the Zhanxian stage, not as good as him, so he always thought that Yang Chen had been poisoned quite deeply. Just as the vitality of the scholar was in his own acupuncture slowly passed away, Yang Chen's body suddenly found a green rantan, and the rantan seemed to smell something delicious. Suddenly penetrated into the arms of the scholar. A strong suction came from the rantan, and the scholar felt that his body was relaxed, and the poison that made him weak, under this suction, obeyed the blood of the body. Flowed to the rantan. Immediately, the body was relaxed, as if it had never been poisoned. This scholar immediately understood it, presumably this was why Yang Chen was not afraid of his poison. Now his life was hanging on Yang Chen's hand. Since Yang Chen detoxifies him, there must be something he wanted to ask. On the magic weapon, the scholar understood that no matter whether they were poisonous needles or his shields, they were not the opponents of Yang Chen. The poison was not effective against Yang Chen, so the scholar completely gave up any resistance. I haven't been in the Central Plains for a long time, tell me what has changed recently. Yang Chen did not talk nonsense, directly said his request, and released the scholar's neck, but his flying sword directly arrived at the scholar's heart starting from the bombing of the Greatest Heaven sect. The scholar knew that he could not resist, so he cooperated with everything and began to tell Yang Chen. After the Greatest Heaven sect was exploded, they found trouble for several sects, including the Pure Yang Palace. However, the Pure Yang Palace had the Green Jade Immortal Island support and all the things were there, they were the first section to clear the suspension on them. However, there were a few small sects that were not so lucky. Although there was no particularly big suspicion, they were still found to be a few mistakes by the Greatest Heaven sect. They took the opportunity to attack, either the martial arts sect was destroyed or they joined the Greatest Heaven sect under the pressure. As for the big sects, the Greatest Heaven sect did not dare to provoke immediately, but the demon sects and the monster race would never be let go. It was said that many masters have been dispatched to go to the sites of the demon sects and the monster race to find evidence. Later, they began looking for a master of formations. As long as they were prestigious or from a big sect, the Greatest Heaven sect would take the initiative to come to the sect to find proof. As for others, whether they have sects or were rogue cultivators, would be ruthlessly brought back to the Greatest Heaven sect and asked carefully. Later, the Greatest Heaven sect did not have enough staff and even issued a high reward for the outside. As long as they could bring in formations masters for questioning, no matter what method was used, they would give the cultivators who bring them a generous reward, which would cause countless people to covet the rewards. This was one of the hunters tempted to help the Greatest Heaven sect find the target. Listening to the words of the scholar, Yang Chen began to ponder slowly. The Greatest Heaven sect did this and forced the merger of the small sects. It was clearly because the outer sect's disciples were destroyed, so a large number of reserve disciples were needed to supplement them. This was understandable, but what was the high-stakes rewards for the masters of formations? Was it really for the pursuit of the culprits? Suddenly, Yang Chen thought of a possibility. Maybe the Greatest Heaven Sect used this method to let the guys who helped the Greatest Heaven Sect for rewards to antagonize people and gain enemies, and finally had to join the Greatest Heaven Sect to protect themselves. It must be known that there were two kinds of ways that could be used to invite people. This group of people has rich experience in combat and they could kill without much trouble. It was the talent that the Greatest Heaven Sect urgently needs. Just a little reward so that many people would have no way out and finally must rely on the Greatest Heaven Sect for protection. It was simple and effective. Looking at Yang Chen's meditation, the scholar who have regained his energy on the ground, the twinkling in both his eyes, flashed an alternative light. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 314. The Blue Cloud Sect also want equal treatment. Because of Yang Chen's meditation, the flying sword that originally arrived at the back of the scholar has also slightly deviated from the position, which also gave the scholar a chance. The poison has been dispelled by Yang Chen and Abby using the body of the blue jade vine. While sitting and telling Yang Chen about the recent events, the physical and spiritual consumption of the scholar was also recovering. Now he was almost the same as before. This was a good time to get out of trouble. Yang Chen was somewhat supportive. Just as the scholar himself thought he had controlled the situation, even the opponent's weapons were not lifted. Now Yang Chen made the same mistake. The two were close at hand. Yang Chen was frowning at this time, his eyes don't know where to look at the scribes, and all the scholar look at it all the time. Suddenly, a sword light was shot from his Qianqin bag, targeting Yang Chen's heart. Between the electric and the flint, the hands of Yang Chen, which was distracted, caught the flying sword edge. The scholar did not expect Yang Chen to react so quickly. Under the shock, he was also fully motivated by his full power. Yang Chen was only holding his sword with bare hands. As long as it was rotated, Yang Chen's palm could be cut open and not mistake the center of his chest. He thought it would be successful, but the flying sword in Yang Chen's hands were like it had developed roots and it didn't move even slightly. Regardless of how the scholar spurred his full power, the flying swords was firmly in the hands of Yang Chen, and even the sword light slammed into the hands of Yang Chen, and there were no signs of breaking the skin. There's someone responsibly for every grievance, for every debt there is a debtor. I intended to spare you, but you are looking for a dead end, no wonder. Yang Chen mouth slowly said, his head was constantly shaking. It seems that the decision of the scholar was a pity. The scholar's face was not good at first sight and he hurriedly flew away and didn't they dare to stay in place for a while. Yang Chen mastered his life and death with one hand, standing so close, isn't that looking for death? Yang Chen was still shaking his head and talking there, just giving the scholar time to escape. Only, when the person went out, but his head remained in place. First wood flying sword light didn't know when he had bypassed the scholar's neck. He cut the whole head of the first level and then swayed it and cut the scribe's Qianqin bag and sent it to Yang Chen's hand. The bloody rattan flew out of the sleeves of Yang Chen and the body of the scholar was entangled. In just a moment, the body of the scholar became a headless bone. Yang Chen took a breath and the bones became powder. As the wind blew, there was no trace. The Greatest Heaven Sect was doing things and it was already a bit of an enemy with all the sects, but now Yang Chen still wants to hide in the dark. The skinny camel was bigger than the dead horse and the masters of the Greatest Heaven Sect were like clouds. The pure Yang Palace was far from being able to compete with them. Yang Chen also needs to slowly weaken the strength of the Greatest Heaven Sect and thus achieve the purpose of cutting off the Greatest Heaven Sect. A small delay of 10 days, such a small twist, but this does not affect Yang Chen's plan to go to the Blue Cloud Sect. Calling out the shuttle, Yang Chen continued to embark on the road to the Blue Cloud Sect. In less than a month, Yang Chen arrived at the gate of the Blue Cloud Sect. Because of the last time at the auction site, Yang Chen's image has already been kept by all the disciples in charge of the reception, and when Yang Chen was seen, someone immediately came to greet him. Yang Chen was a distinguished guest, and Yang Chen didn't have to wait in the mountain gate for a long time, but Sun Qingxu was still in the process of her seclusion, so Yang Chen was directly brought to the place where Elder Hua Wanting was. But the estimated days, Lit Li Shu should have almost condensed her golden dan, so this younger generation junior came to see her. Seeing Hua Wanting, Yang Chen naturally greeted her according to custom, and he also expressed his intentions. You have a heart. Elder Hua saw Yang Chen, and her mood was very good, especially listening to Yang Chen, who was concerned about her disciple also made her happy. Yang Chen said goodbye to Sun Qingxu before his seclusion. This was the first time Yang Chen came to the Blue Cloud Sect after the seclusion. After Yang Chen retired, Sun Qingxu also madly and bitterly cultivated, for fear of being surpassed by Yang Chen in cultivation base. To this end, Sun Qingxu even took the initiative to go to several sinister places, killing a lot of monsters, used to hone her combat skills. Elder Hua also extremely spoiled and loved Sun Qingsu before she realized it. She only gave Sun Qingsu a few magic weapons to save her life in critical moments. Sun Qingsu was allowed to sway outside. In addition to her Dao protectors, she also honed her cultivation base by fighting monsters. In just 20 years, Sun Qingsu, with an image of hating the wicked as if they were her personal enemies and a beautiful and moving image, successfully won the reputation of the moving snow maiden fairy among the cultivators. Whether it was the Blue Cloud sect or the outside sects, it was not known how many young outstanding talent wants to make a relationship with the Snow Maiden Fairy in order to have the opportunity to further develop their relationship. However, Sun Qingsu seems to be not interested in this at all and refused them all. The glamorous reputation plus the false words, so that countless people were secretly wishing to conquer the Snow Maiden Fairy. There were also some disciples inside the Blue Cloud sect who understand the relationship between Yang Chen and Sun Qingsu and vaguely reveal a lot. As soon as the news spread, countless people almost hated Yang Chen to the bones. Was the cold plum fairy Zhanxian not enough even to occupy the Snow Maiden Fairy, quested for such one after conquering Gansu? If they could bear it, what else couldn't they tolerate? Yang Chen also succeeded in gaining the hatred of Sun Qingsu admirers after he was hated by the admirers of Zhanxian. After more than 20 years of practicing in the field to gain experience, Sun Qingsu returned to the sect and began her seclusion and fully attacked the Jitan realm. There was Yang Chen's Immortal Wood and the Eternal Spring Wood from Zhanxian. Her reaching Golden Dan could almost be said to be 90% completed. According to the understanding of Sun Qingsu by Elder Hua, Sun Qingsu should also reach Golden Dan in this year. It happened that Yang Chen came at this time, indicating that Yang Chen also had a deep understanding of Sun Qingsu's cultivation. Not to mention the accuracy of Yang Chen's half-breaking Sun Qingsu's cultivation base. Just having Sun Qingsu in his heart, it was worthy for Hua wanting. For Yang Chen, Elder Hua was more satisfied with the more she looked at him. The only minor defect was that Yang Chen was still involved with Zhanxian, otherwise everything would be perfect. She heard that he also still has a relationship with a female disciple of the Pure Yang Palace and even attaches great importance to his master. Sun Qingsu couldn't he treat it exclusively and Elder Hua was still screaming injustice for her disciple. However, Elder Hua also understand that the background of Zhanxian was that Yang Chen couldn't fight. And Yang Chen's talent in alchemy also determines that the sect would vigorously try to win over Yang Chen. If he says no, she could only grieve for her disciple. In fact, now the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island executives have already accepted this kind of compromise. The premise was that Yang Chen could have a good impression on their own sect. The senior alchemist has always been highly valued in the cultivation world. This was the reality. What surprised Yang Chen was that he had just wanted to simply visit Sun Qingsu, but he did not expect that it was not long before he met Elder Hua. The Blue Cloud sect Master Lu actually came here and actually came to see Yang Chen. Greetings Sect Master Lu. Greetings Elder Shai. When Sect Master Lu arrived, Yang Chen of course had to pay his respect. Accompanying Sect Master Lu was also the law enforcement elder of the Blue Cloud sect, Elder Shai Yan, who was in the daching stage. You don't have to be overly courteous. Sect Master Lu faced Yang Chen and looked very easygoing. She currently had a smile on her face. If this look was seen by the cultivators who knew of the Sect Master Lu's illustrious prestige, they would definitely be shocked. Why would Sect Master Lu, who was almost the same as the ghost god, treat a young man of the younger generation so kindly? Here, Sect Master Lu and Elder Shai just sat in the first position according to their identity. Elder Shai immediately asked Yang Chen, there is a question we wish to ask you. Please enlighten me elders. Yang Chen said respectfully. Shai Yan has always been a hot-tempered person and has long been in charge of the law enforcement hall. They have the habit of speaking with such a straightforward approach, so Yang Chen was not surprised. The last time the island master of the Green Jade Immortal Island went to the Blue Cloud sect. It seems that an agreement was reached with the Pure Yang Palace. Do you want to use the questioning inner heart pills in exchange for fire seeds? Shai Yan did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point, is there such a thing? Yes. In the face of Sect Master Lu and two elders of the daching stage, Yang Chen did not deny it and directly answered with affirmation. Hearing Yang Chen's answer, the opposite Sect Master Lu and the Elder Shai and Elder Hua were not very surprised. This point, Yang Chen also understood what was going on, so there was no hidden plan at all. Although Shai Yan used it in the words, it also had the taste of inquiry in the tone, but Yang Chen knew that if they were not sure about this kind of thing, how could the elders ask him? Groundless accusations were not something that a master of the daching stage would do. However, it is not only to use the fire seeds to exchange for the questioning inner heart pill. After Yang Chen answered, he added. The medicinal ingredients are provided by the Green Jade Immortal Island Fairy Shai. This younger generation junior is only refining this kind of fire seeds, it's some compensation for the younger generation. Those medicinal ingredients of that girl fairy shy, was it the ones you obtained together when she went on a journey with you? Elder Hua also seemed to know a lot of inside secrets and she asked with a pleased face. Yes. Yang Chen also did not hide it and still gave an affirmative answer. That journey's luck was quite good, we found some 10,000 years spirit medicine and it just happened to be able to be refined into the questioning inner heart pill. This younger generation junior and the fairy shy divided it in half at the time. SHHH, that fairy shy is quite lucky. Shy Yan listened at the side and could not help but mutter, but she did not say anything else. After all, Yang Chen also traveled with Sun Kingxu and their harvest was also quite rich. Of the bodies of the 15 Yuning stage praying mantis, except for the 3 that were decapitated, the other 12 were still intact. Even the Pure Yang Palace could successfully refine them, how could the Blue Cloud sect be lacking such a master? The value of the 12 Yuning stage praying mantises would never be lower than those of the 10,000 years spirit medicines. However, relatively speaking, the Blue Cloud sect has a total of 12 Yuning stage puppets and the strength of the entire sect was not as obvious as that of the Pure Yang Palace. When it comes to the development potential, it was still more exciting for those who could refine the questioning inner heart pill with the 10,000 years spirit medicine. Yang Chen has already promised to refine the questioning inner heart pill and the Green Jade Immortal Island could get at least 20 pills. They might be able to add at least 20 masters of the Daching stage. If there was no questioning inner heart pill in this matter, these 10,000 years spirit medicine could create a few Yuning stage masters. It would then be that the Blue Cloud sect would have it easier. But since there was a questioning inner heart pill, it seemed to be a little different. If my Blue Cloud sect can find the 10,000 years spirit medicine materials that could refine the questioning inner heart pill, I don't know if you would be able to help refine it. After Elder Shai and Elder Hua asked one sentence each, Sect Master Lu finally asked the main topic. Sect Master Lu plus Elder Hua and Elder Shai, these 3 could almost say that they could monopolize a corner of the cultivation world. If you count the strength of the sect, they could definitely occupy at least 1/10 of the Dao sect. But at this moment, the 3 predecessors looked at Yang Chen with eager eyes and waited for Yang Chen's answer. One couldn't do anything about it, now who else could refine the questioning inner heart pill? Except for Yang Chen, there was no one else. The Blue Cloud sect, Green Jade Immortal Island, even the Greatest Heaven sect and the 5 Element sect were trying to solve the problem of how to refine the questioning inner heart pill. But no matter how hard they worked, they couldn't solve the mystery of the refining of the questioning inner heart pill. Yang Chen, the alchemy master, was unique at the moment. No one could replace Yang Chen's position. Even if Yang Chen still only had his early Jidan stage cultivation base, nobody could easily kill Yang Chen, of course, this was what they thought. This younger generation junior of course has no problem with it. Yang Chen smiled and replied, but he still did not forget his own sect and reminded them, but the seniors still have to ask for the thoughts of the palace master about it first. This younger generation junior is the Pure Yang Palace disciple, you can't forget this. This actually was to make the Blue Cloud sect and Pure Yang Palace make certain trades once more. However, neither Sect Master Lu or Elder Hua and Elder Shai thought that Yang Chen had gone too far. Always remembering to ask for benefits for your own sect, this was the duty of being a disciple of a sect. Such a disciple, they really didn't know what kind of dog shit luck the Pure Yang Palace had to get him. It was said that Chu Heng, a traitor to the Pure Yang Palace, had been suppressing Yang Chen with dissatisfaction and had never taught Yang Chen what he really learned. All of what Yang Chen knew was learned by himself. If only they knew of this before. If the past Blue Cloud sect could step forward and take Yang Chen into their sect, wouldn't many of the great benefits be for the Blue Cloud sect? It's a pity that it's hard to predict the future. It's estimated that Yang Chen and the Blue Cloud sect did not have this fate. Do you still want the fire seeds? Elder Hua asked again, to determine Yang Chen's request. I want the fire seeds. Yang Chen nodded heavily and added the fire seeds of the 3rd grade, 4th grade and 5th grade, not the one below those ones this younger generation junior already have. This requirement was very normal. According to the Blue Cloud sect informant, the Green Jade Immortal Island also had the same condition, which showed that Yang Chen was not biased to one side. At this point, the 2 sides had basically confirmed the transaction. However, the Blue Cloud sect and the Pure Yang Palace still needed to discuss between the sects. It was not that Yang Chen could decide it all now. After the matter was over, both sides also relaxed. Elder Hua began to curiously ask Yang Chen, your wood-type spirit power is very pure, but what is the reason? As a wood attribute Daching stage master, Yang Chen's pure first wood true essence aura, how could Elder Hua not feel it? Just before they were talking about business, she didn't have time to talk about it. Now Elder Hua finally asked after they finished. When Elder Hua mentioned this, even Sect Master Lu and Elder Shai began to be curious. They clearly remembered that Yang Chen was a fire attribute cultivator. How could there be a strong wood attribute spirit power on his body? If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 315. Human Sentiment. In order to study the art of controlling fire, this younger generation junior deliberately consulted the cultivation methods of other attributes. Simply put, this younger generation junior deliberately practiced and experienced it personally. Yang Chen smiled and replied, I just happened to have a wood attribute magic weapon, and by chance, the spiritual power was absorbed, and then it became like this. Strictly speaking, Yang Chen did not lie, but some things were ambiguous. Yang Chen's deeds of being a disciple in the Yishu manor, with thousands of disciples and servants, it was impossible for everyone to have the same secrets as the head of the palace, and naturally could be passed outside. The wood attribute magic weapon was not the most unreliable, but if you really take out the first wood tress and spur I tool so Lu Tian, wouldn't the wood attribute magic weapon be the most powerful? The explanation could only be explained by this point. Yang Chen would never tell the people of the Blue Cloud sect that his entire attribute was post-natal spirit root full value, and he also intends to fully condense a golden Dan for all of it. The three predecessors of the Blue Cloud sect naturally could not ask the question of what Yang Chen was cultivating or what kind of magic weapon it was. It was not that they didn't care about the younger generation or were not curious, but they couldn't force the confession. For Yang Chen's explanation, Elder Hua was also satisfied for the time being. At least Yang Chen did not conceal too much from her. He even told her that he had practiced the cultivation methods of other attributes. In fact, Elder Hua had already learned from Sun Qingxu that Yang Chen's wood attribute spirit power was pure and that it had already reached the foundation stage. In fact, this question was purely a curious one. The high-level members of the Blue Cloud sect only cared about Yang Chen's alchemy ability. As long as he could refine high-grade medicinal pills or could refine the questioning inner heart pill, other things didn't matter much. After all, Yang Chen was not a person of their sect. Even if they were optimistic about this young man, there was no need to pay special attention to it. On the contrary, for Yang Chen, because Elder Hua asked this question, he remembered a matter regarding a cultivation method. 8th metal true secret art was obtained by Yang Chen from the Blue Cloud sect in a jade slip that recorded a storytelling script. At that time, Wan Qian had copy of it, but not the original one. It must have been in the Blue Cloud sect's collection. In the next few decades, there would be disciples of the Blue Cloud sect who would be minding their own business, only to discover this piece of merit from the collection and then make great contributions to the sect. Since then, the Blue Cloud sect would also possess the original 8th metal true secret art cultivation method. It was almost impossible to destroy the original from the library of the Blue Cloud sect, and he couldn't stop the Blue Cloud sect from discovering this method to strengthen their sect, so why should Yang Chen not push the boat along? Since this matter would be discovered by a disciple who was not doing sect business, Yang Chen pondered about it for a moment. He could give the Blue Cloud sect a big favor, then maybe this favor could be exchanged for some unexpected benefits. For this kind of benefit, with little cost to himself, Yang Chen does not mind, the more the better. The last time he saved Elder Hua under the entanglement of the bloody vines, this 8th metal true secret art was also one of the reasons. After coming to understand this, Yang Chen's mind suddenly had no more excuses. Anyways, it was only that the Blue Cloud sect was getting the 8th metal true secret art several decades earlier and wouldn't really change anything. He could however make the Blue Cloud sect owe him a big favor. Yang Chen would definitely not let this opportunity pass. The cooperation had been finalized. The sect master Lu and Elder Shai were planning to leave with a few words, but Yang Chen suddenly had this idea: how could they be allowed to leave? Here he said several predecessors, this younger generation junior found one thing, I would like to ask the seniors to take a look at it. Listening to Yang Chen, Sect Master Lu and Elder Shai couldn't just leave without considering it. Elder Shai was straightforward and immediately asked, what is it? Yang Chen's face showed a hint of hesitation, but after all, he said it, this is one of the books that this younger generation acquired from the Blue Cloud sect last time. I also asked Sect Master Lu to find this piece of jade in the sect library. Take a look, this younger generation junior has something to say. As he said, Yang Chen handed over the piece of jade he had in hand. Sect Master Lu was very puzzled and took it and explored it with spiritual awareness and immediately knew the contents inside. In this novel of millions of words, it was of course impossible for Sect Master Lu to read it all at a time, but probably explored the beginning, looked at the title, and then handed it to Elder Shai Yan. Elder Shai took it and her spiritual awareness swept through it and her brow immediately wrinkled. Martile Arts Universe, what does this mean? After asking the sentence, she directly handed the jade slip to Elder Hua next to her. While Wanting took it and also had a glimpse of it with her spiritual awareness. She laughed when she saw it. This is actually called Martial Arts Universe. Ha ha. Looking up, looking at Yang Chen, she was also very confused and asked, why did you let us see this book? This younger generation junior has made some important discoveries. Yang Chen looked serious and didn't seem to be joking. He just insisted on his own requirements. I also want to ask the seniors to bring the original jade slips so I can compare them. Seeing that Yang Chen's performance was very serious, the three of them looked at each other. After Sectmaster Lu made her decision and decided to believe Yang Chen's words and nodded to Elder Shai. Elder Shai went directly to the sect and told a disciple who accompanied them to go to the library to bring this jade slip of the Martial Arts Universe. The disciple was going to do it right away, but Elder Shai thought about it and ultimately decided to do it personally. The disciple was not insured after all. Once there was any trouble, it would be hard to say. The reason why it was treated so solemnly was still because of Yang Chen. The last time Yang Chen and Sun Kingsu went to explore the secret land, the content on the secret key was learned by Yang Chen through reading some miscellaneous books, and it was the same with Zhanxian when finding the Howling Cell's tile dog blood essence. Although Sectmaster Lu and others did not know what Yang Chen and Zhanxian were looking for, they had also heard that Yang Chen had found a clue from a miscellaneous book before they went. There were two things back to back, which was enough for everyone to be interested in a miscellaneous book that Yang Chen attached great importance to. However, there was only one piece of jade slip for Sectmaster Lu or the elders with the contents of millions of words. Even if they were to scan it with their spiritual awareness, it was still not a complete reading. This was a compilation of words to tell a story in order to let cultivators pass their time. If they were to use spiritual awareness to scan through all of it, then what was the meaning for it? It was necessary to read it one word at a time. This was what made it wonderful. The problem was that the level of this book was really bad and even the desire to read it was not there. Elder Hua just looked at the beginning and almost never looked at it again. However, she would not say it clearly. She also did not express it on her face. She only respected the Lord and handed it back to Sectmaster Lu so that Sectmaster Lu would take a quick look. Sectmaster Lu also felt the same. While he only looked at a small section, it felt ridiculous. Master Lu really had a feeling of not wanting to see it. But this was what Yang Chen insisted on and could only brace on to look through it. Among the people present at this moment, including Yang Chen, all were eager for Elder Shai to come back soon. At least Sectmaster Lu was already unable to bear the ridiculous plot, poor text as well as the incoherent pronunciation. It was an invisible torture if you read more than one word. However, when Elder Shai went, it seemed that there was something was missing. Elder Shai did not return for a long time. Sectmaster Lu could only endure the discomfort and continue to read on, wanting to see what was inside that could make Yang Chen become so solemn and serious in front of the Sectmaster Lu and the two Daching stage elders. However, from another point of view, Sectmaster Lu Zongzu and Elder Hua were looking forward to the slow return of Elder Shai. Perhaps Sectmaster Lu could find some hints before Elder Shai returns. Now that Yang Chen has revealed so obviously that the secret he found was in this book, if Sectmaster Lu couldn't find it soon, wasn't it that Sectmaster Lu was really too incompetent? This was not only the problem of Sectmaster Lu alone, but the face of the Blue Cloud sect. You must know that this was a simple storytelling jade slip and that Yang Chen had acquired it from the Blue Cloud sect. The things inside were discovered by Yang Chen and the Blue Cloud sect's people were not even aware of it. This could only explain one point, that was that from the highest ranking members to the lowest ranking members of the Blue Cloud sect, there was no one who knew how to judge quality goods. If there was such a rumor, it would be a great blow to the Blue Cloud sect's reputation. That there was a jade slip in the reading section of their own ancestral hall that contained hidden treasures. Their own people did not pay enough attention and couldn't find it, instead, an outsider found it. If, after this was revealed, the Blue Cloud sect wanted to recruit disciples, some people may hesitate. Therefore, despite being uncomfortable, Sectmaster Lu could only brace on to look down on the jade slip, expecting to find what Yang Chen discovered before Elder Shai return. However, many times, there was a big gap between reality and ideals. Even Sectmaster Lu in the late Yuning stage, after 2 hours of insisting on reading the hundreds of thousands of words with the fastest speed, still could not find out why Yang Chen would so seriously bring it up to them. At this time, Elder Shai had already come back from the library building. When Elder Shai came in, Elder Shai's face was very unsightly. There were two reasons for this. The first reason was his ordeal in finding this piece of jade slip, which was titled Martial Arts Universe. This piece of jade slip contained one of the many books in the Blue Cloud sect. This kind of simple jade slip, who knew how many hundreds of thousands or even millions there were in the Blue Cloud sect? To find one of them, even if it was Elder Shai, had to use all the disciples of the library in order to find it after a period of time. This was the case with them only looking at the title. If they wanted to check the contents, it was really not known when it would be found. Fortunately, there was only one such title, and the original collection was the one in the library. After Elder Shai confirmed it, it was taken away. The second reason was basically the same as Sectmaster Lu. Elder Shai had planned to delay for a while on the road and carefully read the contents inside. Elder Shai hoped to find what Yang Chen had discovered so that the things that Sectmaster Lu had worried about would not happen. However, after a careful reading, Elder Shai felt that being dead was better than being forced to read this script. How was this also called a storytelling book? They dared to call this an afternoon storytelling text. Elder Shai hadn't fully read the novel, but at least the content inside could still be seen. Unfortunately, this book called Martial Arts Universe was even more sloppy and biased, and the content was ridiculous and difficult to see. After only reading a little more than 100,000 words, Elder Shai was already somewhat unbearable. This was still the fastest reading speed. If you change to a careful reading of word by word, Elder Shai estimated that even as a dashing stage master, she would be driven mad. Unbearable was specifically used to describe this kind of thing. Just reading this for a while in a rush was more than half an hour. Elder Shai also understood that they could not drag the time for too long. Elder Shai had to come to the courtyard of Elder Hua with the jade slip. Sectmaster Lu got the original text of the jade slip and gave Yang Chen the copy of the jade slip. Sectmaster Lu sighed slightly and had to admit that if anything was discovered, it was thanks to Yang Chen. Even if this kind of thing had always been in their hands, it was estimated that Sectmaster Lu would not be interested in taking a look at it. She was really unable to see it. Yang Chen, what have you found? You can talk about it. Now that they have recognized the situation, Sectmaster Lu had to face Yang Chen and let him point out the problems he has discovered. Although Yang Chen had already been so obvious, as long as you read it carefully, it was estimated that there wouldn't be any problems at a glance. At most it would take some time and make the person reading uncomfortable. However, as a predecessor, Yang Chen has already raised the issue to them, and he has also complied to refine the questioning inner heart pill for them, so Sectmaster Lu was also content, and Elder Shai and Elder Hua were also content. There was no need to be cheeky and not recognize Yang Chen's discovery. Simply let Yang Chen point it out on the spot. However, it was also necessary to owe Yang Chen a favor in this matter. This is very lengthy. Fortunately, there are still chapters to follow. Yang Chen smiled and did not claim too much credit. It was just a very casual look. Only then did he point out predecessors can look at it, the content of the 4639th chapter. Even if there were chapters to follow, Sectmaster Lu went looking for the position of the 4639th chapter and spent almost half a column of incense before it was found. Yang Chen reminded him to look at the contents of this chapter. Sectmaster Lu swept through it on the spot. There were not many words in this one chapter, that was, 2,000 or 3,000 words. In a moment, Sectmaster Lu finished reading and in a short time, remembered it in mind and handed it to Elder Shai. Elder Shai and Elder Hua continued to take turns to look at it, but Sectmaster Lu was recalling the contents of this chapter and was very puzzled. There seems to be nothing within it that required too much attention. Like the rest of the story, it is hard to understand, and in this chapter the author of the text had actually made up a story about some wild cultivation method, which was unreasonable and ridiculous. After thinking about it for a while, Sectmaster Lu didn't understand what was in it that was worthy of Yang Chen's attention. At this time, even Elder Shai and Elder Hua had also read the contents of it. After reading it, they were all foggy and confused, just like Sectmaster Lu. Yang Chen, is the cultivation location that this guy described in this article what you are noting? Thinking about it, Sectmaster Lu could only think of this possibility and was somewhat hesitant to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 316. The human sentiment is not perfect. Cultivation place. Yang Chen knew that there was indeed a place for cultivation in this chapter. However, it was indeed only a fictional place in the book. It was not the focus of Yang Chen's attention. Sectmaster Lu, the two elders, turned the cultivation method backwards and then pondered the content. Yang Chen shook his head and denied the speculation of the sectmaster. At this moment, Yang Chen no longer kept them guessing and gave more direct hints. In the past, Yang Chen knew the trick and from the beginning, searched for it directly. The previous article did not explain it in detail. Even so, Yang Chen didn't find the cultivation method until he endured the torture of the first few million words. 8th Metal True Secret ART was an ancient cultivation method. The description of the cultivation method long ago was somewhat different from the modern grammar vocabulary. When it was reversed, it was even more nonsense. Sect Master Lu and the two elders did not think about this possibility at first, just pondering the words and meanings. If an inverted cultivation method could make them directly see the meaning, then they were also considered keen people. However, starting from the prompting for Yang Chen, the several seniors thought about Yang Chen's adventure with Sun Qingxu and Shai Zhanxian before, so their instinct was focused on the location and did not think about the content of the cultivation methods. At Yang Chen's prompt, all three began to ponder about it. The contents of the chapter were just a few thousand words, all three being well-minded, and the cultivation method being only a few hundred words. Even if it was very incoherent, the three had also been able to memorize it. Pondering it over in reverse, it became much smoother, without even putting in much thought, they were able to get through it right away. It was no longer incoherently difficult to understand. After a moment, the faces of the three people were all serious, and it was obvious that the mystery of the cultivation method had been discovered. This is Sect Master Lu was the head, although her identity was very high, their cultivation base was not as high as the two Daching stage elders. Naturally, Sect Master Lu was not as accurate as the two elders in judging this cultivation method. In the words of Sect Master Lu, there was also an unbelievable tone of is it possible that this is 8th metal true secret ART Elder Shai cultivation base was the highest and her voice most affirmative among the three. Although she has the earth attribute spirit root, it does not prevent her understanding of metal attribute cultivation methods. The time it took for Elder Hua to be promoted to the Daching stage was not as long as Elder Shai, and for a long time she was fighting the blood demon vines. In terms of knowledge, there was a slight gap between the Elder Shai and the Elder Hua. However, Elder Hua had also discovered the power of this method, which was actually the direct use of the most original essence of the 8th metal true essence cultivation method. It should be 8th metal true secret ART, it can't be wrong. With the affirmation of the Elder Shai, Sect Master Lu also guessed that Elder Hua was also confident in this cultivation method. However, the reason why Elder Hua was so sure was because of Yang Chen. Since Yang Chen reminded them so seriously, he would never take a fake counterfeit to perfuse deception. Moreover, this was the original from the library building, and Yang Chen was likely not able to make a fake. Sect Master Lu finally understood why Yang Chen had asked them to take the original collection out of the library, which was originally to prove that it had not touched his hands. Even the mood of the two masters of the Daching stage, in the face of the original cultivation method 8th metal true secret art, could not suppress their excitement. Even if none of the three of them had metal attribute spirit roots, the sect master and elders of Blue Cloud sect would definitely support this kind of good thing that brings countless benefits to the Blue Cloud sect. The shock of the three predecessors took only a small amount of effort and they soon returned to normal. However, when they looked at Yang Chen, there were a lot more things in the eyes of the three people. A junior in the Jidan stage, and at the time when he got this jade slip only a junior at the early foundation stage, to have such good eyesight, such a strong insight, that from the millions of boring and even mentally torturous words in this ruthless book, found such an incredible martial art, along with also having to think about it in reverse, how much daunting patience was needed to do this. All three of these predecessors had seen it, but none of them read the million words. If it was before Yang Chen's suggestion, even if this was in front of them, they would look at a maximum of 3,000 or 5,000 words, and then how far it would be to throne was not known, where would they notice that within the following millions of words, there would be hiding such a peerless treasure. Admire, shock, gratitude, regret, a lot of complex emotions intertwined, was the mood of the three seniors. When the three looked at Yang Chen, it was like watching a little monster. One can't do anything about it but to treat Yang Chen as a monster. When he reached the foundation stage, he could refine the Black Tiger Yuan replenishing pill that Daching stage masters needed. The Black Tiger suppressing pill, the questioning inner heart pill and the heaven seizing pill. What could he be if not a monstrous talent? Which cultivator would practice all 5 elements of the martial arts and even because of an unexpected magic weapon, also cultivate his main spiritual power into a wooden attribute that was not the root of his own fire attribute? What could he be if not a monstrous talent? Among ordinary cultivators who could bear the storytelling words that were so bad that they have reached the extreme and could still persist on through the words and sentences and find out the 8th metal true secret art. What could he be if not a monstrous talent? If Yang Chen was a disciple of the Blue Cloud sect, how good would that be? Sect Master Lu's heart flashed such a regret. It had to be known that Sun Qingxu knew Yang Chen in the past. If Sun Qingxu received more attention in the sect, maybe she would look for Yang Chen and then pull Yang Chen into the Blue Cloud sect. If that was the case, then Yang Chen would become a disciple of the Blue Cloud sect and then no matter what kind of medicinal pill, it would become a medicinal pill of the Blue Cloud sect. No matter how many secret planes that Yang Chen discovered, it was to the benefit of the Blue Cloud sect. They all blamed that damn Wan Qian. In order to suppress Sun Qingxu, she got her own disciple to make way and did not hesitate to send Sun Qingxu to the most mediocre Zhu Suzhin sect. She even gave a handmade cultivation method so that Sun Kingsu would not get out of the crowd early and attract everyone's attention. Now, Wan Qian and her 6 apprentices had been missing for decades. When they came back, they must administer Wan Qian, a sin that harmed the same sect. Even if she was an elder of the sect, she must not be let off lightly. This kind of thought just flashed past, and Sect Master Lu quickly concentrated on the present. This 8th metal true secret art was discovered by Yang Chen. If Yang Chen did not say it, it was estimated that no one would know that such an important method would be hidden in such a bad book. The main question was, how do they reward Yang Chen now? Now Sect Master Lu and the 2 elders had some understanding into why Yang Chen had hesitated before. This kind of thing, 8th metal true secret art with Yang Chen's knowledge, was something he should not know about it. Such an important cultivation method, Yang Chen himself knew, if he secretly dedicated it to his own sect, there would be no problem at all. Now speaking in front of these 3 people, it was almost equivalent to giving a peerless cultivation method to the Blue Cloud sect. Among the miscellaneous books that Wan Qian prepared for Yang Chen, who knows what was inside? No one would know that Yang Chen had gotten this book that records the 8th metal true secret art. If Yang Chen does not say it, no one would know. Although in a strict sense, since this was from the Blue Cloud sect, this method should belong to the Blue Cloud sect. But Yang Chen was not a disciple of the Blue Cloud sect. He has no obligation to safeguard the interests of the Blue Cloud sect. He insists that it was a duty, but it was a big favor. This kind of favor was not the kind that the Blue Cloud sect asked Yang Chen to do for the sect, just like this time when the sect asked Yang Chen to refine the medicinal pills, but Yang Chen took the initiative. From this perspective, the weight of this person's favor would be greatly different. Of course, no one would know that even if Yang Chen does not say anything, after a few decades, the Blue Cloud sect would also have a disciple who does not seek advancement that would discover this 8th metal true secret art cultivation method from the storytelling script. Since no one knew, in order to repay Yang Chen for this extraordinary favor, it was a bit difficult for Sect Master Lu. They asked Yang Chen to refine the questioning inner heart pill, because there was a precedent for the Green Jade Immortal Island, the Blue Cloud sect only needs to refer to the rewards. But there was no object to be mentioned for this matter, and it could only be discussed by Sect Master Lu and several elders. Yang Chen, for this extraordinary favor, I represent my Blue Cloud sect to thank you. How to repay him must be thought of quite well, but they should thank him at this moment. The reason why Sect Master Lu was the Sect Master was because Sect Master Lu has a versatile means to immediately thank him. No matter what thank you, this kind of thankful attitude must be expressed at least first. In the face of Yang Chen, Sect Master Lu also thanked him. It was not a simple matter to let the Sect Master of the Blue Cloud sect say thank you. With the strength of the Blue Cloud sect, what could they not achieve if they wanted to? Unless it was a kind of thing like refining the questioning inner heart pill, it was worth it to say a word of thanks. Now that the 8th metal true secret art was revealed, Sect Master Lu had to sincerely say this thank you. I don't dare to accept the thanks of the Sect Master. Yang Chen hurriedly returned the courtesy. How to say that this was also a predecessor? People who are well-mannered would not forget etiquette. Yang Chen was a younger generation junior, how would he dare show scorn? This is from the Blue Cloud sect and I am just giving it back. The Blue Cloud sect is also considered to be the original owner. The more beautiful Yang Chen's words were, the more the 3 seniors of the Blue Cloud sect felt that they should compensate Yang Chen. Yang Chen, a descendant of the Jidan stage, could achieve this. As the predecessors, how could they do it poorly? With less rewards, not only do they seem to be lacking in their temperament, even the Blue Cloud sect would be ridiculed. Yang Chen, this 8th metal true secret art, is a matter of great importance. After thinking about it, Sect Master Lu still had to brace onwards and put some words forward. Regarding the reputation of the Blue Cloud sect, Sect Master Lu could not be careless. This younger generation junior understands. Without waiting for Sect Master Lu to speak out, Yang Chen has already directly received the words this matter. This younger generation junior swears by my heart, I will definitely keep my mouth shut and ask the sovereign to be rest assured. Swearing by his heart, this was the highest level of oaths among cultivators, and it was not easy for cultivators to make such a vow. Yang Chen's attitude made Sect Master Lu and the 2 elders feel that they owed him more. What they thought was just how to make up for it. Of course, this was really a matter of great importance. Sect Master Lu must also discuss with the other elders before deciding how to deal with this matter. For the time being, it was still not possible to give Yang Chen a specific reply immediately. Yang Chen certainly understood this. His thoughts along with Sect Master Lu's were almost the same, so he directly grabbed a thread of conversation and swore with his heart to never reveal it. This was a modest method that he uses. If Sect Master Lu mainly said these requirements, it would be a little bit unreasonable, but it was something that had to be so everyone's face was ugly. Yang Chen grabbed the words and took the initiative to express his position. This made him feel ignorant and he was relieved of everyone's embarrassment. At the same time, he also felt that Sect Master Lu felt that he was owed and he would naturally consider more in return. Compared with this practical favor, Yang Chen would not care about this little reputation. And if it was because of this fame, but the price was to make the Blue Cloud sect embarrassed, whether it was from the relationship between Yang Chen and Sun Qingxu or from the current cooperation between the Pure Yang Palace and the Blue Cloud sect, it was not a good thing. On the contrary, this situation was a win-win result that would benefit both parties. The Blue Cloud sect would preserve their face and Yang Chen would gain a big favor, maybe there would be a good repayment. Compared with a false name, Yang Chen valued the latter. Have you come to see Little Shu this time? Sect Master Lu was pleased with this procedure, with a smile said calmly, Little Shu is in seclusion to condense her golden dan, it is the latest thing, you can stay here for a while and wait for Little Shu to come out of seclusion. Then this younger generation junior will not be polite, thanks for your hospitality. This was Yang Chen's plan from the beginning, but letting Sect Master Lu personally send an invitation for him to stay made him feel shameless and thick-skinned, the feeling was completely different. You have done a great service to my sect, if you have any need, you can say it freely. Sect Master Lu asked him directly. To thank him, of course, they must first look at what Yang Chen wants to decide. If Yang Chen's request was not high, Sect Master Lu could even decide on the spot. I don't dare, this younger generation junior just did some duty and does not dare to say that it is a great service like the senior said. At this time, if he asked for anything, he would be a fool. The more he declined the credit, the more the Blue Cloud sect would feel that they owe him, where Yang Chen would use this kind of big favor easily, he must use it at a critical time. In this case, my sect will have an auction in the vicinity of the sect in the near future. You can see what is of interest to you. Sect Master Lu did not ask any more, but turned serene and then, seemingly casually asked it is said that the last time the island master of the Green Jade Immortal Island personally went to the Pure Yang Palace. Apart from talking about the matter of the questioning inner heart pill, was it also to set the marriage for you and that little girl Zhanxian? When he heard the words of Sect Master Lu, Yang Chen could not help but secretly swear. At that time, in order to cover up the cooperation with the Pure Yang Palace, the main excuse of the island master was Zhanxian and Yang Chen's marriage. Now Sect Master Lu also said this, what does it mean? Little Shu is also a good girl and she also has a deep affection for you. Sect Master Lu said with a smile. When Little Shu comes out, I can say that I have to go to the Pure Yang Palace in person and would have to decide about you two with Palace Maz Turhi. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 317. Sun Qingxu's Golden Dan. On this topic, Yang Chen was now afraid to have more bonds. However, Sect Master Lu also revealed another meaning, that was, she would personally go to the Pure Yang Palace. Sect Master Lu going to the Pure Yang Palace, of course, it was impossible to just discuss things about Yang Chen, Sect Master Lu would certainly have to discuss further cooperations with the head of the palace. Just like the cover of the Island Master before, the things about Yang Chen and Sun Qingxu were just an excuse. However, Sect Master Lu's personal move to the Pure Yang Palace has illustrated many issues. In the past, if the Pure Yang Palace wanted to cooperate with the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, it was the master of the palace that personally went to the two sects to seek cooperation. This kind of unequal status was the embodiment of the strength of the martial arts sect. Now, not only had the head of the Green Jade Immortal Island personally gone to the Pure Yang Palace, but even the Sect Master Lu of the Blue Cloud sect wanted to go to the Pure Yang Palace, this in itself explains many issues. At least now the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal were truly treating the Pure Yang Palace as an object of equal cooperation. This was an amazing progress. Although the Pure Yang Palace had not yet reached the level of being equal to the two big sects in terms of strength, it was only through the efforts of one person, Yang Chen's, and the resources of the master, that everyone's cooperation had been promoted to an equal position. Even if Yang Chen was not good at interface, he still has to express his appreciation. Thank you for the concern of the Sect Master Lu. This younger generation junior will be the one who will tell the master of the palace, we will be waiting for the lord to visit. At this point, the purpose of Sect Master Lu and the elders to see Yang Chen has been all reached and they even had a big surprise. They must also immediately report to other elders and review how to thank Yang Chen. Soon, the two were polite and left the courtyard of Elder Hua. There was one more essence cultivation method, which was also a big event for the Blue Cloud sect. Elder Hua settled Yang Chen in a room and told the servants to take care of him and then also went to attend the high-level meeting of the Blue Cloud sect. For 10 days or so, there was no unexpected situation. Yang Chen was also very quiet in his room, he didn't go out the door, he just devoted himself to cultivation. Among the 5 elements of Yang Chen, the third fire spirit power had condensed its golden Dan, so had the first wood spirit power, while the others were still in the foundation stage. Originally, Yang Chen thought that in the case of the first wood spirit power reaching golden Dan, the 3 spiritual powers would be as good as the others at the same time, and the spiritual power of other attributes would be condensed at the same time, but now it seems that this was not the case. Perhaps the spiritual power needed to condense the golden Dan was stronger, and the 3 spiritual powers were far from enough to trigger all the spiritual powers to condense. Next, Yang Chen must find ways to condense the other spirit powers. Otherwise, if various spirit powers of his cultivation base was too far apart, it would be detrimental to his future cultivation. If there was no other way, Yang Chen could only carry out a certain kind of spirit power cultivation in a certain period of time. He believed that it was not so difficult to break through the foundation stage one by one at the level of Yang Chen's current peak foundation stage. The only thing that was needed was time. But this time, the matter of the first wood true essence spiritual solution let Yang Chen discover that the things left by the guys above were simply scary. Obviously on the Immortal Executioner Stage, the Immortal only said that there was a vein of the first wood true essence, who knew that after so many years, this vein of first wood true essence could actually accumulate into a pool of first wood true essence. This reminded Yang Chen of what another person had said. That person was none other than the Golden Star of the Sun Li Changqing. Golden Star of the Sun also said that the lower realm had a pulse of 7th metal true essence, which was a gift to Yang Chen. However, for the 7th metal true secret art, Yang Chen succeeded in getting a bottle of the 7th metal true essence for his cultivation from the plains of the beast last time. Originally, Yang Chen thought that there was no need to look for the 7th metal true essence, and Li Changqing's good intentions were to be left for their own fated person. However, Yang Chen, who discovered in the banyan tree cave the first wood true essence spiritual solution, found that after the original level of the first wood true essence reached a certain degree, there would be such a horror. After its collection, it was simply inexhaustible to use the first wood true essence. Even the ordinary monster race experts in the heavenly court didn't have such a rich accumulation. What was the situation of that 7th metal true essence, which belonged to the Golden Star of the Sun, that has existed since the establishment of the heavenly court? Thinking about it would make anybody's mouth flow with water. Looking for clues in his memory, there was another one that made Yang Chen very tempted. Before a certain immortal died, he said that in the lower realm he left a medicine nourishing gourd. As long as a medicinal pill was preserved in this gourd, there would never be a situation in which the pill was dissipated after being stored for thousands of years, and it would save Yang Chen a lot of effort. Concerning the most important medicinal pills, Yang Chen had to go through the troubles of making large quantities of high-level talismans to preserve them. After bidding farewell to Sun Qingxu and after returning to his master's sect, Yang Chen planned to set out to find these 2 things. Naturally, because there was the Penglai divine wood, it was only a smooth process to gather the first wood true essence spiritual solution. Before the departure, Yang Chen must also prepare a 7th metal magic weapon. This was just in case, like in the banyan tree cave when he suddenly fell into the pool of the first wood true essence, Yang Chen needs at least a magic weapon to support his body. As for the collection of the 7th metal spiritual solution, there would be no problem with using the gourd of the Dragon Palace. There were only a few liquids in the gourd, one was the first wood true essence, another was the 4 Seas mysterious coral liquid, the other was the Jade Dragon brewed wine, plus the auxiliary wine brewed, and the pulse of the spiritual spring. The space left was still big. One of the immortals said that he still left dozens of refining flying swords, which allowed him to fly in the heavens. The quality of the flying sword was almost unimaginable. This was also the reason why Yang Chen promised his master and senior sister that he would prepare for them the life source flying sword. Now both his master and sister's dans were already condensed and they were consolidating their cultivation base. After they have consolidated their cultivation base, they could start to temper their life source flying swords. Yang Chen's discovery has left his time a little bit tight, the schedule was very close and there was almost no time left for himself. It seems that the condensation of his other spiritual powers could only rely on some external means. Of course, the external means does not mean that he would damage his foundation, nor does it mean that Yang Chen would be opportunistic, but similar to the technique of using the first wood spiritual solution to condense his own 7th metal spirit power. He believed that his own 5 elements of the 3 spirit powers of the Jitan stage, even if it could not let the full attribute spiritual power reach the Jitan stage, it could drive the other 5 kinds of spiritual spirits. After a series of plans, Yang Chen did not actually make a decision in the Pure Yang Palace, but when he was in the Blue Cloud sect waiting for Sun Qingxu to leave seclusion, it must be said that this was also a result that left him speechless. 10 days later, when Yang Chen was cultivating, he suddenly noticed a riot in the heaven and earth spiritual Kai. The courtyard of Elder Hua was adjacent to Sun Kingsu's own, and the center of the spiritual riot was in the courtyard where Sun Kingsu was located. This familiar spiritual fluctuation, Yang Chen was very familiar with it. Sun Kingsu had condensed her golden Dan. Within the big sects like the Blue Cloud sect, almost regularly there would be such a spiritual riot, some building their foundations, some were condensing Dan, and some were forming their nascent soul. Therefore, this familiar spiritual fluctuation would not cause any sensation in the Blue Cloud sect. At most, there would be several people who cared about the sect who were looking in the direction of the spiritual fluctuations. They would look in thought, nod their heads slightly, and feel that there were more people who had broken through in the sect. Their strength would grow more than a few points, and they would rejoice. Yang Chen's heart was happier than others. He came here to wait for Sun Kingsu to condense her golden Dan. Sun Kingsu's timing and Yang Chen's estimated difference was only a month's time, indicating that Sun Kingsu still walked on her original genius road. The spiritual riot lasted for a long time, and then it stopped. Elder Hua had long felt this aura, and she flew back, waiting for her disciple to come out. Congratulations. When Sun Kingsu went out, she came to her master to report her good news, but did not expect to see Yang Chen waving his hand to her. She was pleasantly surprised and almost jumped up happily. Don't be so free-mannered, you are already a master of the Jidan stage, you can't keep the mood of a little child. Elder Hua next to her couldn't help but cough, reminding Sun Kingsu not to be rude. Zhanxian was a recognized outcome pan-ion of Yang Chen, and she was not as active as Sun Kingsu. She was currently the biggest rival of Sun Kingsu. If Yang Chen does not like Sun Kingsu, then it was not good news for Sun Kingsu and the Blue Cloud sect. When Sun Kingsu was scorned by her master, she was naughty and spit out a small tongue, and her face flashed a touch of intelligence. Yang Chen just smiled at her and nodded. He had nothing to say. The master was giving directions to her disciple, and if he speaks, he would be out of place anyway. After berating Sun Kingsu, Elder Hua also expressed congratulations to Sun Kingsu. This disciple of hers was really worthy of the name of a genius. Under her own sect, she succeeded in condensing her golden Dan in less than 100 years. This was after she had wasted more than 10 years, after she had discarded her own cultivation base to start from the beginning. When she thought of this, Elder Hua felt exceptionally satisfied. Towards Wan Qian, who had designs on Sun Kingsu before, Elder Hua was really not too resentful. On the contrary, it was not because of her, how could the Elder Hua receive such an excellent disciple? For Sun Kingsu's cultivation base, Elder Hua did not have much guidance, but she was forced to consolidate her cultivation base. In the face of Yang Chen, Elder Hua was not likely to give too thin a direction for Sun Kingsu. Anyway, she has already condensed her golden Dan and needed to consolidate her cultivation base. Later, at some time she could give her more detailed guidance. It was not necessary to delay the closeness of Yang Chen and Sun Kingsu at this time. Sun Kingsu certainly understood that her master was creating conditions for herself and Yang Chen. She was a little red-faced while giving leave to her master and returned to her courtyard with Yang Chen. Yang Daji, am I not as stable as a child? In her own domain, Sun Kingsu did not have much scruples. When she came back, she asked with a little nervousness. She was very concerned about Yang Chen's perception of herself. No. Yang Chen replied with a smile. Is it not very good to be active? There is no need to learn to have a cold face. Cultivation is not to be made into a piece of wood. The divine immortals also have joys and sorrows. As long as they are the real you, it's okay. When she heard Yang Chen's words, the nervousness that had suddenly appeared on Sun Kingsu's face disappeared without a trace, revealing a relaxed smile. A lively image appeared again on Sun Kingsu's face. In another yard, Elder Hua seemed to have a relaxed look on her face. After all, Sun Kingsu was her own disciple, she also cared about the perception of her disciple in Yang Chen's heart. Originally, she was worried that Yang Chen's speech would not be so mature and he would have a bad impression of Sun Kingsu. Now that Yang Chen likes it, then everything was not a problem. Yang Chen likes the true color of Sun Kingsu, and Sun Kingsu was of course happy. She acted like an elegantly beautiful, incomparable fairy maiden in front of other young outstanding talents, but in front of Yang Chen, she still likes hearing Yang Chen's innocence when he says to her, I will not deceive you. Which gave her an alternative sense of security. Yang Daji, how are you here? Were you deliberately waiting for me? The happy Sun Kingsu did not become like her master's consciousness at all. There was no mature and stable style at all, perhaps only in the presence of Yang Chen. When she came out, she saw Yang Chen. When she was happy, she was more concerned about why Yang Chen appeared here. My calculation was almost the same for you to reach Golden Dan, so I came over to see you. Yang Chen was not hypocritical, bluntly speaking his own intentions. Anyway, he came to let the little girl become happy, but also plainly gained a big favor from the Blue Cloud sect. If you want to count the possible refining of alchemy in the future, this trip to the Blue Cloud sect was absolutely perfect. Thank you, big brother Yang. Sun Qingsu heard Yang Chen admit it, that he calculated her own condensation moment, which shows that Yang Chen put her in his heart. The little girl heart became sweet, thanking him with her mouth, but her face had a very enjoyable look watching Yang Chen while breathing roughly. Sun Qingsu had already regarded herself as a person of Yang Chen. Otherwise, she would not be in mourning after she thought that Yang Chen had an accident. Therefore, she felt that everything she had given to Yang Chen was justified. This time, thanks to your immortal wood and eternal spring wood, it was so smooth. However, even so, Sun Qingsu deliberately thanked Yang Chen for these two kinds of wood. The immortal wood was given by Yang Chen. The eternal spring wood was traded by Sun Qingsu with Yang Chen's jade dragon wine from Zhanxian. It could be said that they were all Yang Chen's credit. That is also your own diligent cultivation, otherwise it wouldn't work no matter how many precious materials you use. Yang Chen smiled and did not take credit. Who was she kidding? Would the future snow fairy be afraid of not being able to condense her golden dan? Yang Chen has only mostly played the role of putting icing on the cake. Yang Chen does not diminish his praise. You are more outstanding than I expected. This was not Yang Chen's flattering. It had to be known that due to the mistakes in cultivation that Sun Qingsu made in the past 10 years, she had to abolish her own cultivation base. Even so, she reached the Jidan stage only 20 years later than Yang Chen. However, Yang Chen had many advantages, while Sun Qingsu was far from being comparable. In order to celebrate your success and for your ability to consolidate your cultivation base, Yang Chen was very happy, so he came up with a few large branches of the Penglai divine wood. These are my gifts. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 318. Conversing with the Snow Fairy. Now Sun Qingsu was not the little girl who didn't know precious materials before. Especially after she built her foundation, Yang Chen had also sent her 3rd grade first wood foundation stage pills, which contained the aura of the Penglai divine wood. Now, in these 3 large branches, there was also a first wood aura with the same aura as Sun Qingsu. Sun Qingsu immediately knew what was in the hands of Yang Chen. Such a large Penglai divine wood branch could be used to cultivate the seedlings of the Penglai divine wood. Even if Sun Qingsu was a disciple of the Blue Cloud sect, even if Sun Qingsu was an apprentice of the master of the Daching stage, watching Yang Chen suddenly come up with such a big gift still shocked her, and she couldn't speak for a long time. What's wrong? Don't you like it? The reason why Yang Chen took out the Penglai divine wood branch instead of the first wood true essence spiritual solution was to let Sun Qingsu have a gradual process. From the ordinary spirit power to the first wood true essence spiritual solution, the need to consolidate and the adaptation time was too long, but it was better to deepen the aura of the Penglai divine wood and then slowly upgrade to the first wood true essence spiritual solution. Of course, Yang Chen had another consideration. The first wood true essence needs refining. Unless it was the monster race Penglai divine wood, it would absorb on instinct, just like Shikui and Xia. If the human cultivators want to use the first wood true essence, besides the long-term habit absorption, only the first wood true secret art could be used to do it. Yang Chen didn't know if there was any first wood true secret art in the Blue Cloud sect, even if the other party was Sun Qingsu. On the domain of Blue Cloud sect, Yang Chen could not tell Sun Qingsu about the first wood true secret art. The 8th metal true secret art made Sect Master Lu and the 2 masters of the Daching stage excited to form that look. If he added the first wood true secret art and first wood true essence, they could definitely have the idea of silencing witnesses. Yang Chen, who had lived for 2 generations, naturally knew that people were sinister. However, the 8th metal true secret art was originally for the Blue Cloud sect. There was no pressure on Yang Chen to return it to them, but the first wood true secret art was really awkward and Yang Chen was not so generous. Even if Yang Chen was willing to help Sun Qingsu, he must have Sun Qingsu really become a person of Yang Chen. She would have to swear by her heart and make an oath that she must not tell the people of the Blue Cloud sect or to teach the first wood true secret art. Therefore, at this time, these branches of the Penglai divine wood were the best gifts, enough for Sun Qingsu to consolidate her cultivation base. Of course, Yang Chen also considered such a precious thing. Maybe Sun Qingsu would bring it to the sect to cultivate the Penglai divine wood. However, Yang Chen does not care about such a small branch. It was not so easy to cultivate the Penglai divine wood. It was far from enough to rely on spiritual power. Survival may be able to do it, but the scale of wanting to grow into the ones in Yang Chen's medicine garden would take at least 100,000 years to slowly cultivate it. Not everyone has the liquefied first wood true essence. Sun Qingsu was excited about Yang Chen's gifts. She immediately sent the branches into her Qianqin bag. Then she did something that Yang Chen couldn't think of. Don't let Master and Sovereign know that you have these branches of the Penglai divine wood. Sun Kingsu didn't even open her mouth, but sent a message through spiritual awareness, which shows how much she valued it. The little girl's attitude made the smile on Yang Chen's face more prosperous. Although the Master's sect was as important to her, Sun Kingsu paid more attention to Yang Chen. Perhaps it was because of the shadows of Yang Chen in several major incidents. The Blue Cloud sect did not leave any good impressions on Sun Kingsu at first, especially Wan Qian and Zhu Sulan. Although Hua Wanting was also caring for Sun Kingsu, but if you let her choose between the sect and Yang Chen's life, she was still willing to choose Yang Chen. It was not that Sun Kingsu does not maintain the interest of the sect, but she would not damage Yang Chen's life for some illegitimate interests of the sect. That was all. The branches of the Penglai divine wood were enough to make some people in the sect red with envy. At least Sun Kingsu thought so she immediately became a little more careful. It's no big deal, it's not a big deal. Yang Chen was happy, and naturally he won't treat Sun Kingsu unjustly. If you have time, you should be refining and absorbing these branches to consolidate your current realm. Taking out these branches, this was to let Sun Kingsu consolidate a realm. The same spiritual power was a great compliment to Sun Kingsu. With these branches, at least half the time for Sun Kingsu to consolidate a realm would be taken out. With Yang Chen's words and the branches of these Penglai divine wood, Sun Kingsu naturally regarded them as Yang Chen's love for herself. Although there was a little fear, she still accepted it graciously. She had already made up her mind in her heart, even if it was her master, she would not tell her what Yang Chen sent. They haven't seen Sun Kingsu for decades. Now there were no outsiders here. Yang Chen naturally has to look at Sun Kingsu. They didn't know what Sun Kingsu had been through these years. Yang Chen had seen the shadow of a predecessor snow fairy from Sun Kingsu's cool and heroic posture. As if knowing that Yang Chen was watching her, the little girl was very naughty and put on a face that was 1,000 miles away from the pesky young outstanding talent who entangled her. This face was simply the iconic expression of the memory of her in Yang Chen's previous life. For a time, countless memories came to his mind, and Yang Chen seemed to stay in a trance. Sun Kingsu was very happy that Yang Chen was looking at her in a daze, which fully shows that she has an unusual attraction to Yang Chen. Yang Chen's performance made Sun Kingsu even more happy than his 10,000 words. For a time, she had condensed her golden Dan and received a gift from Yang Chen. Together with Yang Chen's current performance, Sun Kingsu felt that she had good luck today and her goal was at the door. They haven't seen each other for decades. Sun Kingsu has a lot she wants to talk to Yang Chen about. With Sun Kingsu, Yang Chen certainly does not drink tea, like when with Zhanxian, but he took out a large pot of jade dragon wine, plus a large plate of peeled profound yang fruits. This little girl was born in an official residence, and she had a good wine capacity, quite able to drink. Yang Chen and her, in the small courtyard of Sun Kingsu, the fruit of the millennium profound yang fruit as a side dish of the wine, slowly tasted the wine, do not know how much information was exchanged with the jade dragon wine. While drinking, they talked to each other about these decades of mutual experience. Sun Kingsu was really happy today, and she was excited to tell Yang Chen what she did after she left Yang Chen to go back into seclusion. From the experience of going out to gain experience and of returning into seclusion, even the small things were also very detailed. These words, Sun Kingsu has never said to anyone, including her master Hua. Now facing Yang Chen, she has said these like flowing water, all of them have been said. From the beginning of her cultivation, Sun Kingsu was a lively little girl, but in the Blue Cloud sect, she first encountered the conspiracy designs of Wan Qian master and her apprentices. Later, she took Elder Hua as her master, although the conditions were already unique, the little girl did not have a friend of the same age who she could be open with, except Yang Chen. In addition to telling her own experiences, this was the first time for Sun Kingsu to talk about the happiness of her own cultivation in the past 100 years in front of others. This was just like venting, and she couldn't stop. Taking advantage of the energy produced by the jade dragon wine, Sun Kingsu almost continuously said that there were still a few moments still unfinished. Yang Chen did not stop Sun Kingsu from venting, but listened quietly, sometimes with a few words, and let her vent out completely. These things were long and boring in her heart, but it was easy to become a heart's devil. There was certainly not much problem in the Jitan stage, but once it happens to be the tribulation of forming the nascent soul, it could be a big problem. On the contrary, by pouring it out to Yang Chen, the pressure in her heart would be released and she would be happy, she had found a catharsis outlet. In a fashionable word, this was a vent and the thoughts were always accessible, it was absolutely great for her cultivation. After a few hours, Sun Kingsu unwittingly drank a lot of jade dragon wine. Especially at the last moment, Yang Chen felt that the timing was almost the same. Sun Kingsu also vented enough. He directly used a large cup of the Four Seas mysterious coral liquid to reconcile a drop of wine and let Sun Kingsu drink it, letting Sun Kingsu enter into a dreamlike state. Holding the dancing snow fairy, her heartwarming body, Yang Chen sent Sun Kingsu back to her boudoir embroidered couch and then notified the maid who had been supporting Sun Kingsu to take care of her. Looking at the still fascinating Sun Kingsu, Yang Chen had some envy that at least if the dancing snow fairy had troubles and happinesses, she could find himself to talk to, but he could not find a person to talk to. The secret of rebirth was the biggest secret of Yang Chen in this world. It must not be easy for anyone to know, even if it was his master. He didn't want his master to be afraid of knowing the secret. She might even want to come out to help him deal with the greatest heaven sect. Although in the future, if the Pure Yang Palace and the greatest heaven sect were on the opposite side, his master must be duty-bound, but Yang Chen would rather face them alone at this time. Sun Xiaoxu had this talk, and with the last cup of the Four Seas, mysterious coral liquid he added some finishing touches. After waking up, her thoughts would be accessible, her body would be free from impurities, and the Penglai divine wood branches sent by Yang Chen would make her cultivation base rock solid. Coming here to see Sun Kingsu was to give congratulations on her success. Now that the goal had been exceeded, Yang Chen had no reason to stay there again. After informing a few servants of Sun Kingsu, Yang Chen did not even say goodbye to Elder Hua and he left the Blue Cloud sect. Anyway, Sect Master Lu would come to the Pure Yang Palace and would definitely bring Sun Kingsu for Yang Chen and Sun Kingsu to have a chance to see each other again. Yang Chen does not care about the time when he gets to be together with her so much. There would be plenty of time for that. The famous snow dance fairy of the later generation turned out to talk to him like a little girl. If this was said in his previous life, no one would believe it. But in this life, it happened not long ago, so Yang Chen had a feeling of disbelief. If dancing snow fairy was like this, then what about the cold plum fairy maiden who was cold all the time? Every day, a pair of frosty faces may have accumulated a lot of complicated feelings. Yang Chen was looking for an opportunity to help Zhanxian. Of course, this was just Yang Chen's own sudden thoughts, and it was not operational at all. Zhanxian was not Sun Kingsu, a little girl who has such a dependence on Yang Chen. However, it was alright to sit with Zhanxian, indulging in drinking tea, it would be a wonderful enjoyment. Suppressing these thoughts, Yang Chen drove the shuttle and went straight to the Pure Yang Palace. From the last time he left the sect, he had not been back in the past 6 years. In the heart of Yang Chen, the faces of his master and senior sister were involuntarily raised. Then he naturally thought of the embarrassing scenes of his master and senior sister and their spiritual awareness double cultivation. On the road for another month, Yang Chen once again saw the familiar scene of the Pure Yang Palace gate. The first time to return to the Pure Yang Palace, Yang Chen went directly to his master's courtyard to meet his master. What Yang Chen didn't expect was that his master Gao Yu was not there. After inquiring about it from the servant, he realized that his master and his sister had gone out in the 3rd year of his going out. It was said that they were going to consolidate their cultivation base and then gain experience. His master and senior sister were not there, Yang Chen could only go to see the head of the palace. He had collected Mu Bai as a disciple. This must be reported to the head of the palace, and the Cypress family had all joined the Pure Yang Palace. This matter was also necessary for the palace master to know, otherwise it would be an inexplicably bewildering thing. Pure Yang Palace has more than 100 people in the Hall of Eccentrics, isn't that a weird thing? Yang Chen went to the master of the palace and faced no obstacles at all. This was not for anyone who wants to see the master of the palace. Yang Chen could come to him at any time, even when he was in retreat. This was the special command of the head of the palace. Of course, Yang Chen would not find a time to visit the palace master when he was in seclusion. After a big ceremony, Yang Chen was planning to report but was stopped by the head of the palace. The palace master had already asked people to ask a few elders to be there for Yang Chen's report or wait until the elders were all together and then say so later, lest they have to say a second time. This was from the experience of the palace master after a few times. Every time Yang Chen came back from the outside, there would be big things happening. Except for some secrets that cannot be said to others, it was necessary for the palace master and the elders to discuss with each other. So now that Yang Chen wants to report, naturally it was necessary to wait for the elders to come to in full. Except for Ancestor Master Wang Yong, the other elders arrived. Seeing Yang Chen, the elders naturally received greetings from Yang Chen and they settled down. Let's see, what good things have happened this time. The palace master waited for everyone to be ready and he said with a smile. This was the face of a smile, but he raised his legs and made preparations for listening. The other elders also followed the palace master's example, all posing a comfortable posture, waiting for Yang Chen to surprise them again. The last time he was in the greatest heaven sect, everyone had already vaguely guessed something. It was a happy time, and now it was estimated that miracles would appear again. The elders having made such a posture, Yang Chen couldn't help laughing a little. But he couldn't blame anything, they were all elders, and he couldn't turn his fingertips. He could only respectfully say. This time, this disciple has gone out and accepted an apprentice. His aptitude is excellent and definitely worth training. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 319. Shock. Oh? You actually received a disciple. When Yang Chen's words were exported, suddenly the interest of the elders sprouted up and they asked questions, especially Zhu Chentao, almost like he wanted a confession. Quickly tell us, where is your disciple? What's his background, what's the surname, what is his attribute, what is his aptitude? Don't be relaxed like that. The apprentice who could make Yang Chen accept him must be absolutely good. When Yang Chen was a disciple in the Yishu manor, he was known for his unique vision and the people who he pointed out had nothing wrong to say. The disciples that Yang Chen received would naturally make everyone curious. The disciple who received this disciple acceptance is named Mu Bai. He is a cypress tree which has become a monster cultivator. Yang Chen didn't conceal it, there was nothing to hide. The origins of Mu Bai could be seen at the time of seeing it. There was no need to hide it at all. It was found in the northern part of the monster plain and is absolutely good, maybe even equal to the snow dance fairy. The cypress was a monster cultivator, naturally it was a wood attribute. This was not a question for everyone. Yang Chen does not have to answer at all. Tree monster? Everyone was stunned, they did not think that Yang Chen's first disciple was not a cultivator, but a tree demon. Everyone was just a little surprised, but there was no means of rejection. Now the first Zhanxian stage master of the Pure Yang Palace, Di Shanyu of the Hall of Eccentrics, was a laurel tree turned into a monster cultivator. Everyone knew that the trees were powerful, and Yang Chen chose a cypress demon as an apprentice, which was not an unacceptable thing. He has the same qualifications as the Snow Fairy. This sentence made everyone a bit surprised. Snow Fairy Sun Kingxu in recent years had become a big name, she has been faintly catching up with the Cold Plum Fairy Zhanxian, if it was not because of the limitations of her cultivation base, which has not yet reached the Jidan stage. She was definitely a person who can keep pace with Zhanxian. This cypress has such a good qualification. Now everyone in the Pure Yang Palace has accepted the existence of the Hall of Eccentrics, and it was more acceptable to live in the same sect with these monster cultivators. If the cypress really has such excellence, it would definitely be a joyous event of the Pure Yang Palace. Maybe it is not. Yang Chen smiled and said, he is actually a first wood that is turned into a demon, so the attribute is pure, and the natural wood body, specializing in the first wood cultivation method, is not necessarily worse than the Snow Fairy. Your vision can't be wrong, but where is the person? Let me and the others see him. Gao Xian asked with a smile. Such a genius disciple, everyone was interested in him. This disciple has not brought him back to the sect for the time being. Yang Chen hurriedly replied. In addition, the family of the cypress, of more than 100 cypresses, the strongest of which is at the peak Jidan stage, have all made promises to join my sect Hall of Eccentrics and have already issued a monster soul vow. This disciple agreed with them that I would take them back to the sect 30 years later and they would like to report to the elders. 100 or more cypress demon. Everyone's eyes had become bright, everyone was clear about the strength of tree demons. More than 100 cypresses, if they really grew up well, it was not a small force. Unfortunately, my Pure Yang Palace is not particularly suitable for the cultivation of the tree demon. Otherwise, they would be carefully cultivated and later it would be a force of my sect. The elder of the sect Hidden Pavilion, Elder Zheng Hong, seemed to think it was pity, he couldn't help but sigh. The cultivation methods of the monster race, in addition to a transformation secret art, there was none here. Everyone knew this well, so the sigh of Elder Zheng Hong was exactly what everyone felt, that is, was regrettable. This disciple is not talented. This time I went to the plains of the beast. In the Immortal's cave of the monster race, I bought a few cultivation methods suitable for the cultivation of the tree demon, from the low-level foundation laying cultivation methods to the advanced cultivation methods. And there was a cultivation method to increase their spiritual awareness. Listening to the sighs of the elders, Yang Chen licked his mouth and said this. Oh. The words came out and suddenly the eyes of Elder Zheng Hong were brightened. Really? It was unbelievable because the elders had never heard of such systematic cultivation methods among the monster races. Yang Chen actually got a set of cultivation methods from low level to high level. Before leaving, this disciple has already taught Mu Bai and his people to cultivate it. Yang Chen did not answer directly, but he gave a positive answer with this answer. There is a good thing for the Hallmaster Gi. The elders were relieved. Everyone knew that there were no special cultivation methods. If there was a high-level cultivation method that Yang Chen said, does it not mean that the strength of the Pure Yang Palace would become more powerful? What is the story of the Immortals Cave of the monster race that you said? The palace master was more concerned about the affairs of the banyan tree cave. When did the monster race have their own Immortals Cave and inheritance? This was a big event. It was a matter of all the cultivators. It is inadvertent to the palace master. Of course, he had to ask. Next, Yang Chen naturally said the matter of the banyan tree cave in the 10,000 trees forest. Of course, it was limited to the part on the ground. The first wood true essence spiritual liquid matter was of great importance. Yang Chen did not mention much of it. Hearing that for the monster race, there was actually an Immortals Cave that was suitable for their cultivation, and it has also been organized by the monster race of the Zhanxian stage with systematic cultivation methods, everyone was even more stunned. Since there are such cultivation methods, why didn't you buy more than a few and bring back the cultivation methods of the few for the Yuning stage and others? After Zheng Hong listened, he immediately asked. With such an opportunity, how could Yang Chen not catch it? It would not be so easy to go to the banyan tree cave in the future. I did buy more. Yang Chen replied with a smile. I bought some for Xie. As for the others, this disciple also promises that he has a cultivation method for them. Well, then that's very good. Elder Zheng finally nodded with satisfaction and finally praised. Yang Chen, this disciple, always manages every situation accordingly. However, as the elder of the hidden pavilion, Elder Zheng still habitually came up with the following sentence: if you can take back the monster race inherited cultivation methods in the banyan tree cave, that would have been good. In this way, my Pure Yang Palace would the first sect that the monster race would want to enter. It's a pity. Listening to the words of Elder Zheng, the other elders, including the head of the palace, were shaking their heads for a while. There were so many easy things, and it was impossible to say whether this was a matter of fact. If you really wanted to take a copy, it was estimated that the Pure Yang Palace could become the focus of the Tao sect and be placed on the fire. However, the more the palace master looked, the more he thought that Yang Chen was laughing with his mouth. Was it a pity, what that the elders just said? He couldn't help but ask with a frown. Yang Chen, what is your expression? This Yang Chen said too of this. He looked up, a little afraid of sticking his head out, and looked at the head of the palace. He laughed and said. The complete cultivation methods were passed down, and this disciple accidentally got it. Boom, Yang Chen's words directly ignited the entire high-level members of the Pure Yang Palace. The master of the palace was shocked. Even if he was in the lobby of the Blue Vault Mountain Immortals Cave, the palace master still felt that they were not safe enough. He waved his hand and put up a restriction. He added a few layers of insurance to the already isolated voice. He was shocked and asked, what are you talking about? This disciple is careful, and he has gotten back the inheritance of the monster race. Yang Chen did not have any kind of guilty conscience. He was originally going to tell the elders. This was not him purposefully withholding it, but that the elders asked about it before he had a chance to reveal it. How is it possible? The calm palace master couldn't help but widen his eyes and ask this. The other elders were even more stunned, they looked at Yang Chen, as if looking at a monster. Bang, Yang Chen no longer explained in detail, and directly brought out the 8 boxes that were obtained from the hands of the second city master from the achievement ring, and placed them in front of the elders. The box was open, it was full of jade slips. Everyone did not hold back and pressed forward, each grabbed a handful of jade slips from the box, and their spiritual awareness directly explored the contents, and then they showed a surprised expression on their face. Everyone took a few pieces of jade slip in the box and explored them in detail piece by piece. It's not that everyone didn't believe in Yang Chen's words. It was really that Yang Chen's words were too astonishing. He's actually moved the inheritance of the monster race cultivators directly. This was really unbelievable. Eventually, everyone finally confirmed that these jade slips were indeed the various cultivation methods of the monster race cultivation, in addition to the techniques of alchemy, refining and so on. With these 8 boxes, it could be said that 99% of the world's monster race could find a suitable cultivation method here. Past, go and tell the disciples in the Immortals Cave not to kill the monsters in the Immortals Cave again. Elder Zheng was the first to react and hurriedly yelled at the head of the palace. With his words, everyone has come to understand it. Since there was a full set of cultivation methods, the monsters that were kept in the Blue Vault Mountain Immortals Cave could be the most convenient object to supplement the power of the Pure Yang Palace. It would be a pity to kill them all. The palace master couldn't wait for the others, and his body disappeared on the spot. The Blue Vault Mountain Immortals was now for the palace master to govern. At this time, even the younger reporters of Yang Chen were not allowed to go, and he would first order the disciples in the Immortals Cave. After a while, the body shape of the head of the palace reappeared in the same place, but the joy of the face could no longer be concealed. No one knew more about the number of monsters in the Immortals Cave than the actual controller of the Immortals Cave. He knew these were all future Pure Yang Palace disciples. How can such a number of disciples not let the palace master smile from ear to ear? Tell us about it, how did you get these things? When the head of the palace returned, he directly asked a question that everyone was curious about. Everyone was wondering, even if he could buy a cultivation method in the banyan tree cave, the price was too high. Yang Chen could not buy all these cultivation methods. How Yang Chen got these cultivation methods was the thing that most of his elders wanted to figure out. This is a long story. Yang Chen was very unscrupulous with a cliché with his opening remarks, and after the staring of the head of the palace, said there was a conflict with the second city lord. Of course, the real reason for the conflict was naturally replaced by Yang Chen, and it was replaced by the magic weapon, that the second city master coveted Yang Chen's magic weapon, so he moved his mind and wanted to kill and rob. However, there was nothing wrong with these claims, but the number of the magic weapons is somewhat different. As soon as they heard that Yang Chen was stared at by a master of the daching stage, everyone's eyes were stunned. Was it possible that Yang Chen and the master of the daching stage had a grudge? How could he be noticed by the master of the daching stage otherwise? Later, what happened? Yang Chen talked about when he was surrounded by the Yuning stage masters and stopped, he was immediately urged by the curious elders. Yang Chen could only slightly change the plot, the second city master had been stunned by the bloody river because of the spiritual awareness. He did not change the ending so no one would question it. The master of the daching stage was put in a coma by you? Elder Zhu Chentao was left speechless by Yang Chen's words and felt a little unbelievable. Everyone else had the same feeling, that was a master of the daching stage, saying that he is dizzy, how could he kill him? One can't do anything about it, Yang Chen could only put the complete body of the second city master out. When the body of hundreds of feet came out, it occupied more than half of the space in the hall. Looking at this mustard hawk corpse that exudes a strong aura, the palace master and the elders couldn't believe their eyes. This was the body of the mammoth monster of the daching stage. How many times have they seen the masters of the daching stage in their lifetime? There was a body of a master of the daching stage and it was still killed by a Jitan stage master of their own sect. Even if they were looking at the body, everyone had a very unreal feeling. This little guy in the early Jitan stage, killing the master of the daching stage. Regardless of who they tell this to, others would think that they were mentally ill and had abnormal brains. If there was a reaction, it would be a very serious sentence. Young people, don't even think about it, is that possible? But now, this maybe must be changed to certain. No one could believe it, but the complete body was in front of them, even the demon was incomparably complete, could there be a more convincing thing than this? What did you think at the time? From the very beginning, you were going to take these inheritance materials from him. The head of the palace made a sigh of relief, which seemed to spit out a series of shocks in his heart, directly directed it at Yang Chen, and asked. He was going to kill me at the time. I also tried to kill him. I didn't know that he had such good things. Yang Chen spoke in confidence on this matter in addition, although master also has a praying mantis puppet, after all, the speed is a bit slow. This daching stage corpse if made into a puppet can help master fly faster. Yang Chen's words once again gave everyone a blank eye. In order to let his master fly faster, Yang Chen actually played with the idea of a master of the daching stage. This could not be said, it was an unusually crazy move. That is fine, are you afraid that we will rob you of the benefits of your master? This kid. The palace master was really attentive, he said to Yang Chen after careful thinking. I don't mean to refer to the elders that they would make a move, but to help me to refine it. Yang Chen smiled and played rogue, anyway, his generation is the smallest, there was this qualification. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 320. Indeed, the body of a monster at the daching stage, even with the strength of Gao Yu now in the Jitan stage, was far from being able to refine it. To be successful in refining, the strength of the late Yuning stage or peak Yuning stage at least was needed for it to be completed. Moreover, even with strength at the peak Yuning stage, refining a daching stage puppet was also a protracted process. Senior brother Wang has been in retreat for a long time and he should have almost crossed the daching stage tribulation. The master of the palace directly pushed the matter to Yang Chen's master's ancestor, Gao Yu's master Wang Yong, handing the refining of the puppet over to him, it is to refine for his own apprentice. Wang Yong had been retiring for decades. Before retreating, he brought at least 5 second-grade questioning inner heart pills with the suggestion of Yang Chen. The master of the palace also knew that these things were not as precious as imagined and naturally let Wang Yong bring more of it. A few more, so that he could be more sure. Counting up, in a maximum of another 10 years, Wang Yong would be able to break through the realm of the peak Yuning stage and cross into the daching stage. This was Yang Chen's estimate. In this regard, the master of the palace was also well aware. The elders also knew that Wang Yong's retreat was to impact the Daching stage, but they were not as confident as the head of the palace and Yang Chen. Now that they heard the words of the head of the palace, it seems there were also no small accidents. However, in the midst of there being no accident, everyone was still happy to live in the Pure Yang Palace. If there was another master of the Daching stage, it would definitely be a good thing. The body of the second city lord was still collected by Yang Chen, but the jade slips that recorded the inheritance of the monster race were handed over to the sect, and the sect began to copy and classify their management. Elder Zheng Hong also supervises the work on the research of martial arts. The work of categorizing and analyzing whether it helps human cultivators to practice was naturally handed over to him. Of course, all those who could participate were the core disciples of the Pure Yang Palace. Next, Yang Chen reported the initial agreement with the Blue Cloud sect leader, Sect Master Lu, to the head of the palace and the elders. Since this kind of cooperation had been done once with the Green Jade Immortal Island, this time with the Blue Cloud sect, bringing the medicinal material, along with their close cooperation with the Pure Yang Palace, because of the 100,000 mountains. Naturally, it was not a problem. For the sect, Yang Chen thought, this was a good thing, and everyone knew that. With the same conditions as the Green Jade Immortal Island, not only could the sect get most of the benefits of the 100,000 mountains, but they also believed that Yang Chen, in the process of refining, could make a lot of questioning inner heart pills for the Pure Yang Palace. As for Yang Chen's discovery of the 8th metal true secret art for the Blue Cloud sect, Yang Chen's vows would not be circulated, so it would naturally be hidden. At this point, Yang Chen's experiences of this experience has been fully explained. Next, it was time for everyone to discuss some things. The Blue Cloud sect's thing was best done. It was very easy to handle it, according to the Green Jade Immortal Islands. It was easy to be impartial. Even Yang Chen's remuneration had not changed. It was still the fire seeds of the 3rd grade, 4th grade and 5th grade, so long as the two sides do not repeat the same fire seeds. The most troublesome thing was that the inheritance of the monster race cultivation methods was only a reference. There was absolutely no big problem. The key point was that with the rapid development of the Pure Yang Palace, the number of disciples had greatly expanded. Even then the Blue Vault Mountain Immortals Cave had room still for more than 10 times the disciples. Originally, the number was small. If there was a monster race, it was definitely an opportunity to strengthen their strength. But the question was, once the monster race joins, how would the other Dao sects react? The Pure Yang Palace had these inherited cultivation methods. This news couldn't be concealed. If the time comes and others come to ask for it, do they still give it? If they give it, the Pure Yang Palace would not be reconciled. If they don't give it, they would greatly offend the others. Moreover, if the monster race joined the sect in large numbers, this would be unprecedented. For the Pure Yang Palace, it may be an unprecedented opportunity, but it may also be a huge problem. After all, monsters and humans were different. It takes time for the cultivators to accept the monster race when they join the sect. This problem would definitely be faced and must be discussed. In other words, the big city lord of the Immortals Cave still does not know the identity of Yang Chen. If the Pure Yang Palace reveals the legacy of the monster race cultivation methods, it would mean that the identity of Yang Chen's identity would be exposed. It was very likely that Yang Chen would be faced with a chase from the Daching stage and innumerable Yuning stage monster cultivators. If the big city lord was willing to make those things public, maybe there would be such a strong and invisible guy who would come after him, unless Yang Chen stays in the Pure Yang Palace for a lifetime, but even then his safety was not guaranteed. Adding these questions together was really a headache for the palace master and elders. Everyone was very optimistic about the addition of the monster race to the sect strength. Even the monster race who joined because of the monster soul vow were more reliable than the human cultivators. However, when they thought about these problems, there was no good solution at the same time. They wanted to seize the opportunity to revitalize the Pure Yang Palace, yet they were afraid that they couldn't bear the enormous pressure. This was the place where the palace master and the elders were in conflict. Actually, this disciple thinks that these problems are not too big. So long as it is over a period of time, there will naturally be a solution. After listening to them for a while, he saw everyone frowning, and Yang Chen slowly opened his mouth. Yang Chen's words made everyone's eyes focused on him, and no one understood why Yang Chen said so. Would there be a solution after a while? What solution? Why do you say this? The master of the palace provoked a brow, and his eyes that were originally troubled was now bursting with light. Yang Chen was not the kind of untargeted guy. Since he said there was a way, there must be a way. Alice Master, elders, in fact, the people in most need to strengthen their strength, now is not our Pure Yang Palace. Yang Chen smiled and said. It is another sect, the greatest heaven sect. He thought of this and said it. Compared to the small-scale expansion of the Pure Yang Palace, the last time the gate was destroyed was the biggest loss. Even if the connection was supplemented by dozens of small sects and rogue cultivator squads, their original strength could not be restored immediately. The eyes of the elders also suddenly lit up. According to Yang Chen's suggestion, the greatest heaven sect was the most in need of strengthening their strength, and in accordance with a normal method, wanting to restore to the heyday of the greatest heaven sect would take at least for 100 years. But now, where would the greatest heaven sect take 100 years to recover? Almost all other major sects would have dissatisfaction with the greatest heaven sect. During this time, they would definitely put a lot of blame on them. Even if they don't know how to strike the sword at the greatest heaven sect, they would find the way to pull the greatest heaven sect. Under such circumstances, it was not so easy for the greatest heaven sect to regain their vitality in a short period of time. It could only be done in other ways. The quickest way was to recruit a large number of disciples. However, those who have the qualifications for cultivation were not monopolized by the greatest heaven sect, so the greatest heaven sect needs to expand its strength through other channels. The demon sect and monster race were the objects they needed to consider. Taoists, demons, and monsters were existing, but Taoists and demons do not coexist, and the greatest heaven sect would never find people from the demon sect to enrich their own sect. From the perspective of spiritual cultivation, the Taoists and demons were simply the opposite, there was no possibility of integration. Moreover, cooperation with the demon sects does not match the image of the greatest heaven sect, being the leader of the Tao sects, so the greatest heaven sect would certainly not consider the demon sects. The monster race was a lot simpler. In fact, the cultivators so-called beheading monsters and eliminating the demons to protect the Tao. However, the beheading of the monsters was to hone their strength and cultivation base, not to say that the monsters and humans were coexisting, but there has never been a saying about beheading monsters to protect the Tao. Therefore, if the greatest heaven sect wants to expand its power quickly, it could only start from the monster race. This was also the only way for the greatest heaven sect. In Yang Chen's previous life, in fact, the Hall of Eccentrics was first made out by the greatest heaven sect. In the beginning, in order to lay a foreshadowing for the draw of the monster race, standing firm and letting the Tao sects basically accept. After a long time, the greatest heaven sect began to recruit the monster race. However, at that time, the greatest heaven sect did not have such good cultivation methods, so this was a sudden opportunity for Yang Chen. At the beginning, it was opposed by many Tao sects. The greatest heaven sect relied on its strong strength and finally spent decades to let everyone except the monster race to join the Hall of Eccentrics. In this life, because of Yang Chen's reason, the Pure Yang Palace took the lead in having a Hall of Eccentrics, and the excuse was very reasonable, people could not pick anything to say against it. Mountain protecting spirit beast, when they break through the Yuning stage, give them a status, this was all said in the past. Especially after the great calamity of demonic arts happened in the near past, the old tree demon Gi Shanyu in the battle protected a lot of masters of the Tao sects and won a large number of praises, this was why they were able to stand firm. But for the time being, the Pure Yang Palace Hall of Eccentrics only has 3 people, and there was no plan to expand wantonly. This was the root cause of true acceptance of all sects. Since there was a foresight of the Pure Yang Palace, he believed that the greatest heaven sect would soon put their ideas on the monster race. It would not take long for the greatest heaven sect's Hall of Eccentrics to be established. After all, they were the first big faction of the Tao sects, and their foundation was extraordinary. The problem of the cultivation methods that the palace master and the elders were worried about was not a big deal to the greatest heaven sect. Over the years, the greatest heaven sect had been using the beheading monsters and eliminate the demons to protect the Tao as a pretense, and it was not known how many formidable monster race cultivator have been killed by them. There was a large number of monster race cultivation methods in their hands, which was a certain thing. After trying to understand this, the problem of the cultivation method that everyone was worried about was almost no longer a problem. Other sects want the cultivation methods. The greatest heaven sect first got it out, so go and ask them for it. Don't look at the fact that the greatest heaven sect has just been in trouble, after all, it was still the greatest heaven sect. Even the big sects such as the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island were not like this. Other sects want to go to the greatest heaven sect to ask for their cultivation methods, who dares? Since the greatest heaven sect faced nothing damaging, then the Pure Yang Palace only needed to follow rules laid down by the predecessors. When the big sects were imitated, it was natural to follow the recruitment of the monster race. Where else would there be any problems? The greatest heaven sect has got the channels of the greatest heaven sect to obtain the monster race cultivation methods. Pure Yang Palace also has the channel of the Pure Yang Palace. It was always impossible to come to the sect to discuss it. This was the inheritance of the sect. It was meaningless to play the righteous and principle pretense. It was equivalent to asking someone to surrender their esoteric secret. The Pure Yang Palace was not the Pure Yang Palace in the past. There were the Blue Cloud sect and the Green Jade Immortal Island, plus the Beast Taming sect as their allies. It was definitely not a soft persimmon. There were 4 masters of the Daching stage in the 100,000 Dashan Mountains. Wasn't it being uprooted by the Puryang Palace and several allies? Luo clan has a master of the late Daching stage, Luo Yuan. Didn't the Puryang Palace destroy it as usual? Before the Puryang Palace, even the greatest heaven sect steps had to be carefully measured. Anyway, there was the greatest heaven sect in front of it. The Puryang Palace under the tree was good to enjoy the cool. Logically they could expand their own strength. Others do not have a little bit to say about it. At that time, there would be the old tree demon and Yukui and Xia, which have been used as role models, and with the systematic cultivation methods, won't many monster cultivators come to seek shelter? The monster race was the monster race. They were not fools. Whoever was bad, naturally could also be distinguished by them. It was not known if the greatest heaven sect knew that Yang Chen had already received as his disciple the future master of their Hall of Eccentrics, what their expressions would be like. Of course, they would never know, and Yang Chen could only be secretly happy in the back. As a result, it seems that the problems that everyone was worried about were no longer a problem. The only remaining one was the big city lord of the Banyan Tree Immortals Cave. As for the Banyan Tree Immortals Cave, Yang Chen dragged his voice a little and observed the faces of the surrounding elders. He slowly said, there is only one big city master in the Daching stage. Since there are 4 masters of the Daching stage, the 100,000 mountains can be our domain, then the Banyan Tree Immortals Cave may maybe say no. Big. When Yang Chen said a few ambiguous words, and each one said it was slower and dragged longer, just like tempting these elders. Sure enough, as Yang Chen expected, as he said this slowly, the expressions on the faces of the elders just changed from the calmness of the problem, and they turned into thinking, expecting, eager, and finally, everyone's face was full of hustle and bustle, and both eyes were beginning to shine. Yes, there was only one master of the Daching stage, and the 4 Daching stage masters of the 100,000 mountains had been eliminated. Could a big city lord still be on their mind? If Elder Wang Yong succeeded in this tribulation and entered the Daching stage, then there would be 2 masters of the Daching stage in the Puryang Palace, and they could overwhelm them with their numbers. Were they still afraid of not being able to take on a big city master? Even if as a reinsurance, they used a few questioning inner heart pills to hire a few masters of the Daching stage. The Banyan Tree Immortals Cave could almost be said to be stable in the bag of the Puryang Palace. This disciple on the body of the second city lord also found the secret technique to control the Banyan Tree Immortals Cave. Yang Chen saw that everyone had been tempted, once again added a heavy chip. In fact, this secret technique was basically what the original Immortals Cave owner left behind. Where was it on the second city lord? Seeing that Yang Chen took out a jade slip to the head of the palace, it goes without saying that it was definitely the secret technique that Yang Chen said was used to control Immortals Cave. This, can I see it? Elder Meng Xian of the Law Enforcement Hall directly said his thoughts. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more.